broken system chained and tangled up in lies. Voices shouting, screaming in defeat. Politicians playing games under darkened skies. Hope lost in the dust of the street. Red and blue colors pouring from the sky. Debates turn to anger, the crowd gets loud. Punches flying in the blink of an eye. Truth buried deep beneath the shroud. Welcome to the bullpen, where we will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Faces on the screen, flashing perfect teeth. But behind those eyes, just rotting greed. Politicians turn to whispers beneath. They all just get what they need. Whispering conspiracies, drowning in their lies. Echoes of freedom, lost in cries. Spin the wheel of fate, let's see who rise. But this game will bleed you dry. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive. Welcome to the bullpen, where the weak will survive. These broken dreams we defend, trying to keep alive.
Well, good evening and welcome to the bullpen. Apparently, YouTube's having some issues. We couldn't connect to YouTube, and then it created a new YouTube stream. So hopefully, people that were over there waiting for us to start will see the messages and pop on over to here because we don't know what's going on. But that
Yeah.
feed is not actually happening apparently. So yeah, not sure what's going on there, but I'm gonna try to get a link over into that chat so that people can come straight in here.
Yeah, let me copy that link too. I'm working on it. We're all working on it.
All right, I put the link over in the other chat. Hopefully, people will notice and click on it.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Get everyone over here. Get chat.
How's your day, bud?
Oh, it was a good Sunday. You know, watched the season finale of Mobland.
I haven't gotten to watch it yet. I was too busy.
Oh, get ready.
Playing Night Rain with Slender and Imp during my few minutes of free time today. Plus, it was like 80, 85 here. That's why I'm not in the smoking jacket tonight. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it after this because I don't think Slender will still be awake to play Elden Ring after. But
Yep. I've heard
So-
good things about the game, though. You guys seem to be enjoying it. That's always
enjoying it, but it's still hard as hell, and we still haven't gotten through that first boss. No matter what we try, we keep getting weird RNG, and we're still getting used to it. I think Slender's getting embarrassed. He's
get
so
good,
pissed.
son. Get good, son.
So, yeah, hopefully more people will make it over here because I don't see most of the normal crowd coming over to the news stream yet. So we'll give everybody a couple minutes before we get going because we weren't going to. I mean, this obviously wasn't on our list, but of course, there has been breaking news this evening, so we'll be covering that out of Boulder because there's already plenty of information coming out, despite what CNN thinks.
Yeah,
So
CNN.
we'll give people just a couple more minutes since it was a weird start. In the meantime, we've got Tobak, we've got low spec Linux laptop, or what is he actually called on YouTube? I know it's low spec, but I can't remember the rest of it. Josh Hammond thought he was first, but he was first on the new stream, not on the one that existed already.
Well, I mean,
Deeple's
he
over
might have been
there.
first on the other one.
We got John Conroy. We got Darren M. Lily's over here already. E. Clay's here. And of course, Davina Duckworth, or Davinia, Eric Myers, and a few more people seem to be streaming in. So yeah, we've got a situation from earlier this evening or this afternoon. Just 100 miles away from my place, actually, where I used to go to school for college for at least a year and a half up at Boulder, Colorado. On Pearl Street, there was like a walk run for Israel today. I mean, they've been doing it, I think, every Sunday or every other Sunday, and a crazed gentleman decided that he would spray gasoline on people and then throw Molotov cocktails at them. And CNN doesn't seem to know whether Kash Patel and Dan Bongino should already be calling it a terrorist attack, but I think we'll show plenty of proof from the videos that are coming out that, yeah, that you can pretty much call it that already. So, what have you heard so far, sir?
Well, I think both of us have probably seen the live video that was taken on the scene,
Yeah, which I'm getting ready to bring up, so
which
we can talk while
shows
we watch that.
clearly shows that this person, scumbag, a hole, was
Illegal.
motivated in a terroristic fashion to commit this violence. So CNN was stupid. The idea that, like, this is what's crazy. The idea that the FBI director would have less information than the CNN reporter when he comes out and condemns this act of terror is ridiculous. But
Right.
anyway, so this what we've learned also is that the individual was a alleged, this is the part where I'm saying allegedly Egyptian, because there is now some, discussion of whether he may have originally actually been a Palestinian who emigrated via
He
Egypt.
came via Egypt.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we know that. We don't know if he is Egyptian. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a visa overstay, so he has been illegally in the country for years. He entered under the Biden administration and has overstayed his visa and is illegally in the United States and committed this act of terror while an illegal immigrant. I mean, once again, this is one of those situations where I know the people on the left hate when you say it, but this is a crime that definitively would not have happened with immigration enforcement being done properly under
Correct.
previous administrations. I'm going to say this goes back administrations going forever. Like every time an illegal immigrant, this is the important thing. Any type of crime, whether it's DUI, where it's a traffic accident, to Tren de Agua coming in and taking over apartment buildings, to this a-hole throwing Molotov cocktails on Jewish demonstrators who were in support of Israel.
Pro-Israel demonstrators. Yeah.
The your YouTube feed is coming through.
Yeah.
At least
I'm trying to
seeing
get it to
there, to the right tab.
there. Yep. So the guy disguised himself as a landscaper so that he could be standing there exactly where he knew that the runners would be coming by. That was a piece of the equipment that was sitting there. Then the first video just kind of shows him being a crazed lunatic. Let me see if we can get some volume on that, because it doesn't seem to be wanting to play. And of course, Twitter's going to do its Twitter thing.
Do you want me to share it? I've got it queued up.
Yeah, that might be easier, because then it's not going through mine.
There you go.
And now it plays. The second I unshare it, it plays.
All right. So this is, yeah, this is the person who committed the violence. You can see in his hand what he's.
We're here, brother. We're here. We can't do nothing about that. We can't do nothing.
We can!
Not here.
You have to answer this!
Not here, bro.
You're not!
People are taking video right
You have
now.
to answer this!
I think you can see now in the background the spots where he had previously thrown.
Right.
And where we have victims being treated. He was yelling "Free Palestine."
Mm-hmm.
So it's, I do think I'm not trying to be conspiratorial again, but it is interesting that YouTube is having the issues allowing live streaming to start up and get going on an evening when a lot of people might be covering breaking news. Just saying.
That is a possibility.
He is wearing an orange suit with like something on his mask.
spraying alcohol,
Spraying
too.
alcohol, but what he did was he made it
So
look like
originally the
he was
reports
drinking
were
alcohol.
alcohol, but a guy who was there said that no, it absolutely smells like gasoline.
Gasoline.
There's no
I
way
mean,
it's alcohol.
The way it's burning, you can, like, if you look down on the ground in front of him, that doesn't look
Which
like,
is one of the spray bottles,
yeah,
that he lit up and tossed at people.
that
There's a
doesn't
few
look like
spots on the ground.
that doesn't look like the way a Molotov would go off normally with alcohol. And unfortunately, having watched a lot of footage of the Summer of Love in 2020, I saw a lot of Molotovs getting tossed. So, and there's tons of video of that where I was watching it, in New York,
Yeah.
Minnesota, various other places. None of the Molotovs going off looked like that. In Washington, D.C., near where I live, there, when they were burning the church right across from the White House. So this is
and
probably, I would wager that we're going to
alcohol evaporates pretty quickly, especially while it's burning. It doesn't typically burn hot enough to leave a whole bunch of scorch marks on the ground like that, does it?
No.
I wouldn't think it would. I would
no,
think
it
it would
would-
just burn people plenty, but I don't think it would scorch the ground.
Yeah, now the thing about the Molotov, because it's alcohol, you can't just put it out by, kind of roll. You got to do a couple extra steps, and
Yeah,
the reason
just
you
by
throw
pouring water all over.
and a Molotov, the hope of the people usually using Molotovs is that they'll burn hard and fast enough that they'll catch other things and make the bigger fire.
Right.
But they don't scorch the bottle like that. not
Right.
generally. Especially because if you're doing a Molotov, you're usually throwing down, breaking, the Molotov.
Yeah, you're trying to get the liquid to spread over as many things as you can.
Oh, Deeple's not sold on the new time slot, but it helped us cover breaking news. So
Go ahead and finish out this video, and then we'll play the other one where he's getting arrested.
And for us!
Well, we can't do it.
did you like I like this is right in the background, right
Oh,
there.
yeah. Well,
It's Boulder.
here in Colorado, we call it the People's Republic of Boulder. We've called it that all the way back to probably the 80s, if not earlier than that. So
I know, but I think
everything
it's
about Boulder is about the most leftist city outside of California.
it's a super
and maybe
appropriate
Seattle.
super appropriate framing of an image, right?
Yeah.
To have the guy like trying to firebomb Jewish people while a trans flag is right behind him.
Yep.
For
Happy
us!
Pride Month.
Well, we can't do it when he's got Molotov cocktails on
If
him.
you are fighting, you have to
That's what he's got right here. Is Molotov.
You are
Right
fighting
there.
thousands!
Alcohol.
They are killers!
Get back, Mom.
Why
How
are you
many
getting...
have done?
All right, so it's It's
Yeah, that
roasted
guy's a
up.
moron. So I've got the continuation of that video because
Yeah,
this all came from a guy who is there, Twitter handle BHFlyer5. He posted all of his own personal videos. So let's see. The continuation, I believe, shows the cops arriving on scene. So let's see if it'll actually play.
Just stay away. Just stay away. He's right there. He's throwing Molotov cocktails.
And then, of course, dude thinks that he's super important now because he was trying to de-escalate it. Let me send the link of this one over to you, and we'll play it through you.
yeah. I
Because
think
that
might
ain't
work.
working.
Alright.
I'll put it in our DMs real quick. If I can find little Chad. Hell, I'll just put it in the private chat.
It's a private chat here. Yeah, that's good enough.
Bear with us just a sec, folks. Eclay, yes, Mork did live in Boulder.
Nano.
Folsom Field was prominently in the opening to Mork and Mindy.
Alright. Share.
Sub Zax. So the upper right video is the one that I was trying to show.
Alright, there we go. Just turn it down. Ready?
Yep.
Just stay away. Just stay away. He's right there. He's throwing Molotov cocktails. Right there.
Where you fucking belong! And you're going to jail, man. I don't give a fuck. You don't antagonize shit like that. You caused this shit.
This guy's a moron.
You caused this?
You don't antagonize him. You caused this. No. The guy who decided to disguise himself as a landscaper had a well thought out plan for what he was going to do. Nothing anybody said was going to set him off. It was going to happen unless somebody noticed and said something.
Life's been really rough for Captain Lou Albano post-death.
Yeah. Ever since the girls just want to have fun video.
Yeah, since he stopped playing Mario on the Superpower Hour.
Yep.
He's not. Right. He didn't do anything. Chill.
I don't want to hear. Like, what possesses you to defend
Everybody get back.
the
Everybody get
guy
back.
who
Everybody get
just
back.
firebombed people?
Yeah.
He's right there. He's on the ground.
Zax, most people probably haven't seen this one. This is directly from the guy who was
Right here.
filming it on his personal Twitter account rather than the ones that the national media has picked up, which was that other video.
No, this guy's the one exactly. He's motherfucking.
Hold on. I want to hear what this dude's telling the cops about this guy right here.
No, this guy's the one exactly. He's motherfucking.
It's trying to point out. All
We're
right.
here, brother.
All right, we
That's
saw
the
that
video
one.
we already saw.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's the landscaping equipment. And then, of course, at the end, it just shows them pouring water on people. So, yeah. So that's what, I mean, that's a good chunk of what we know coming from Boulder so far. Other information that has come out is a little bit that we have talked about already. Mohammed Salman is the alleged attacker. Like I said, he disguised himself as a landscaper before throwing the Molotov cocktails at the group. 6 or 7 people are pretty seriously injured. There was one eyewitness description saying that there was just skin sloughing off of a few of the people down to the bone. So we'll be hoping that they make a recovery there. But yep, breaking news on that one just in the past couple hours. So 3 senior DHS sources told Fox News that he is an Egyptian national in the U.S. illegally as a visa overstay. He entered the U.S. during the Biden administration, arrived at LAX on 8/27 of 22 on a non-immigrant B1, B2 visa with an authorization to stay through 2/26 of 23. He never left. On 9/29 of 22, he filed some sort of claim with USCIS, possibly an asylum claim. And on 3/29 of 23, under the Biden admin, they gave him a work authorization, which expired on March 28th of this year. So he is now overstayed again. So yeah, he's been here a little while, and he's been not allowed to be here for quite a while up until he got that extension filed, and then it's been here since it expired on March of this year. So that's all information just coming off of Twitter. Don't know how to really fact check that yet, but that's just what we're seeing out there. So that's what's happening on that front. And now we can get to the rest of the week, because I think that's all the information we've got at this point, right?
Yeah, right now, the latest thing that was broken that we just shared was the DHS confirmation of his basically immigration history. He was clearly, this is where it's ridiculous. I think you have the CNN clip.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it so that I can send it over to you real quick.
Yeah. The idea that people would be arguing, this is just like when the trans shooter in Nashville, when we have a freaking whole manifesto.
Well, that they didn't want you to see.
Exactly.
All right, it's in private chat.
All right, cool. Let me grab it.
So yeah, this will be a clip from CNN, where obviously it's too soon to call it a terrorist attack of any kind. Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are out of their minds for calling it that. Whereas under the Obama administration and the Biden administration, it was like, nope, we cannot call anything any sort of terrorism, no matter what we know about any of it. Whether it's trans terrorism or Islamic terrorism, or in this case, possibly, not possibly, related to the Palestinian-Israel conflict.
Was because the FBI came out so quickly with their tweets, the FBI director and the FBI deputy director using words like violence, targeted terrorism, injuries, suggesting.
But, all right. What CNN knows at this point, when they did this report, is that it was, because the footage was available in there, that it was a man throwing incendiary bombs of some sort on pro-Israeli protesters, screaming "Free Palestine."
And you killed my people. I kill Zionists.
I kill Zionists.
That's the quote that I heard. I haven't seen that one repeated a whole lot of places, but I did see that in a couple spots.
And this is how they decided they needed to focus their time.
That they knew the sort of nature of this. Look, there's these entities called Joint Terrorism Task Forces. There's one in Boulder. It involves local, state, and federal entities in normally, and probably even now, they are working together to determine the motive. It may be very clear to people what the motive is, because at least I just have to acknowledge it. There are things online about the assailant and what he has said regarding the Jewish organization and them being together. Those aren't verified, and that's why the Boulder.
Not verified. It's on goddamn video. It's like,
I don't know that they had the video that we just saw yet, but either way, yeah.
Police are saying, can we
Twitter
not
is
jump
breaking
the
news
gun?
much
And that's
more
why
than
I have
CNN.
to acknowledge it, is that one of the reasons why we don't jump the gun is because Boulder police have to make a case. And if you go out believing it's one.
They have to make a case when they have about 100 eyewitnesses and him there on camera admitting he just did it and saying it was because they killed his people. Free Palestine.
We have the arrest on camera as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Well,
it's not like he was running away. He was standing right there still screaming at people.
Okay, so this is even different than like the Zarniev brothers in Boston,
right?
With the marathon situation,
bombing.
where you have the footage that allegedly showed them and clearly did show them planting the pressure cooker, But at that point, they just, they collected Zarniev from a boat that he was
hiding in somebody's
Yeah.
backyard. Yeah.
So I might even give them a little bit of leeway to say the police have to make the case to be able to connect footage to him. This is not that situation. They got the whole thing basically.
Thing. You are going to miss lots of other things. And so the Boulder police chief was clear. We don't know if the victims were specifically attacked for their, for who they were.
Once again, I'm just gonna let that.
You're at a run for, for Israel, and I think all 6 of the people were somewhere in their 70s.
I can tell you
other
that
stuff that I've heard 60s or 70s.
Well before I even when I saw the first tweets about this, posts, whatever we call it now on X, even before the video broke, everyone was reporting that he had said, "You killed my people, I kill you, I kill Zionists."
I kill Zionists.
Like the quotes were already known. Like this isn't
right.
The video may have come out later, but
yep.
It's what's crazy. All right, so this was the initial report where they keep doing that. This was funny because
where they walk through or run.
This was just a couple minutes
later.
This
was the next segment.
This was the next
guy
segment.
Comes in and it's like, yeah, no, none of that is in dispute.
Well, right now, what we have is this group Run for Their Lives, which does this weekly event where they walk through or run through Boulder to raise awareness for the hostages, the Israeli hostages being held by Hamas. We're in the midst of their event. As they got to Pearl Street by 13th Street, by the old courthouse in that downtown area, an individual who was there before they arrived throws these bottles. It's 2 or 3 bottles, apparently filled with a flammable liquid. This is very consistent with what we would call Molotov cocktails, where you put gas.
Just even the adding where he adds the just initial context. This is a thing they do weekly. This is a known event. It's
easily planned for, because they do it every single week. So he knows people are going to be coming by that route.
Gasoline.
This is
you
thought
light
out.
A fuse, usually a rag. You throw the bottle, it bursts into flames. This injured somewhere between 3 and 5 people. They're still sorting that out. 2 were taken to a local hospital. They're being treated. And at this point, you've got one subject who is in custody, a possible suspect. You have a cordon that has been expanded to about 4 blocks where they have evacuated that area of civilians. They have located a car that they believe is connected to this suspect, the person they have in custody. And what they're doing now is going through that process where whoever dropped a bag or a backpack as they ran or fled, each one of those is going to be treated on some level as a suspicious package. So their bomb squad, their SWAT team are clearing that area of those packages. Then the bomb squad is going to...
right there when you say, as soon as you, I don't look, I'm not someone who's gonna necessarily think the ADL definition where every negative comment about anybody who's Jewish is automatically anti-Semitic,
right?
Attacks or terrorism or whatever. But for the love of God, man, you don't need to be like a 180 IQ Mensa genius to be able to put together that if it's a weekly pro-Israel run for their lives to bring attention to hostages Hamas has taken event that gets firebombed, it's probably you should be acting in this scenario. You act under the assumption that it's a terroristic event until you prove it otherwise, until you find out it's somebody's ex-girlfriend or something, or boyfriend doing something, personally motivated.
Yeah.
You have to run the other direction. You have to just assume it's terrorism, because then you'll be looking, is it a cell? Is it an individual person? Do we have other people we need to protect against? This is
yeah, I mean, they'll do the investigation after, but what's happened currently is pretty clear that, yeah, you can call it that. I mean, I don't think we need to watch the full 4-minute video from this dude. I mean, we got basically what we needed out of him. The basic details of it that they don't want to acknowledge on the mainstream media yet. I'm sure tomorrow's news here in Colorado will be Colorado man set people on fire at protest for Israel or something crazy like that. Because that's typically how it goes.
Colorado man disrupts protest. Meanwhile, administration still hasn't released Maryland man.
Yeah. So, if we see anything else develop while we're live, we'll bring it up. But I don't think we're going to get any more major details tonight, except for some of the eyewitness accounts. But they're just describing the injuries, so we can probably move on from there now that we've shown the CNN stuff, because that was the other part of it, was just trying to point out CNN's hypocrisy on, we'll call anything from the right something, but if it comes from the people we like, we're not going to call it anything like that.
Other fun breaking news, there's an election going on in Poland today.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm sharing, this is Polymarket.
Yep.
And they reverse their red and blues there. So the red is the European Union, bureaucratic institutionalist.
Sure.
And the blue is
the
our
blue
right,
is the conservative.
Is the right wing conservative populist. And you can see that as of today, they thought, they were pretty confident it was going to be going EU, bureaucrat, and then bam, the votes came in. And
seems a little unlikely.
And it's going to go into the right wing populist, which is good, because
maybe they'll see reason regarding the whole thing and the other conflict.
Yeah, well, Poland
and dealing with Trump.
Well, Poland falling to that would have. Ukraine is already being. I mean, they're already involved in the ground war, but if
used by a globalist.
Yeah, but if Poland fell to a globalist, that's a bad recipe, because they've wanted to try to set shit off through Poland now too, with Russia, by escalating into providing American-made arms to Ukraine.
Well, that's been from day one. They've been like, well, ultimately, Putin just wants to roll through Ukraine so he can get to Poland. It's like, based on what? Where did they get this crap? Why?
He wouldn't need to go through Ukraine. They
no,
share
but
a border.
That's the next target on the list, according to everybody on the left, and according to most of our own congressional leaders for the last 3 years now. Is it almost 4 years, isn't it? Or has it already been 4?
I don't even. Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
I think we're at almost 4 years. Because it was almost all of Biden's presidency. It kicked off pretty quick. It was either year 1 or year 2.
For the war in Ukraine, it was
February
of 2022.
22, so it's 3 years.
Yeah, and the saber rattling had started at the end of 21, so where the buildup was there. So it's been. We're into year 3 and just a little over 3, and hopefully now. Then it's another thing where Trump had the representatives meeting in Turkey trying to hash out a deal. And Zelensky has Ukraine push forward with one of their most blatant, deep attacks into Russia. Doing this right now, while the peace talks are going on, is just to antagonize Russia. It's not a. If Ukraine and their administration through Zelensky was serious about finding a solution, you wouldn't have done that. But because doing what they did doesn't alter the territory that's been taken or change.
No matter what I do, it pops your screen share onto the screen. It's crazy.
Yeah, so I just wanted, so that's some more international breaking news. But and in the vein of international stuff, I did want to kind of talk about the tariff updates. We should have a little a little
Tariffs, 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 tariffs.
There you go.
Like film threat.
Like the film threat. Because there was a lot of people who were very concerned last week because on the Friday of last week, I think, or Saturday, Saturday, like the story, and I think we talked about it. There was a trade court had basically said that all of Trump's tariffs were illegal, and they were immediately overruling all of them.
Right.
And everybody was like, "Oh, this is yeah." And then it went to one of the federal appeals court, and they immediately said, "No, the tariffs are fine. They're back on. You can't just turn them off.
Yeah.
You got it. So it's gonna happen, right? So I've got a clip from Face the Nation this morning. We had Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, correcting the record with with our new favorite reporter. Remember, this is the one that J.D. Vance famously...
Margaret?
I don't give a damn.
I don't give a damn, Margaret.
Yeah, so here we go.
The reality is there will either be less inventory or things at higher prices or both.
When we were here in March, you said there was going to be big inflation. There hasn't been any inflation. Actually, the inflation numbers are the best in 4 years. So why don't we stop trying to say this could happen and wait and see what does happen?
And this is funny because this week we got the numbers in from May.
Mm-hmm.
And core inflation, which is used by the Federal Reserve, the CPI core inflation number, went down way more than expected. Like allegedly, tariffs. You remember the reporting has been sky is falling. Tariffs are going to make everything super expensive.
Yeah, it's going to get passed along to us. Even Chinese companies, though, were like, yeah, 75% of these were going to eat it.
Yeah, but the other thing, and this is where viewers of the Bullpen have been prepared about this, because we talked about the cycle of core inflation, right? Sure, yep. A few things might inflate up, but what's going to happen is other things are going to go down. Groceries are going to go down. Energy costs are going to go down. Like if you start doing these things with, like outside exporters, you're going to cause like this when the number one exporter, the number one importer, I guess, of American agricultural products is China. And if China was cutting off the American farm market, those things are perishable goods. They have to be sold. So you flood the American grocery chain with them. It causes food prices to go down, which helps the average American consumer.
And keep in mind, inflation coming down means prices aren't going to continue to go up necessarily, or go up by a smaller percentage. It doesn't mean the costs just automatically come down. There's other levers like energy that have to be pulled for that to start really happening.
But
that's where we're seeing it come in as well.
Yeah. And I've been making the argument, and on the show now for a while, that economists will tell you one of the great problems, bigger even than inflation, is deflation, and I don't buy it. Because deflation is good for the average person. What deflation is not good for is a multinational corporation who has to report profits.
And the stock market. Because of reporting profits.
Yeah, because if you're a publicly traded company, all they want is continuing upward trend lines for revenue and profit margins. They don't want just steady, which is why keep your company private if you just want to make a steady, happy income. Because if you take your company public, the pressure of just always having good stock reports is going to end up driving your decision making forever. So just a word of business advice there. So anyway, but Bessent shuts it down on this, you guys kept saying tariffs were going to do, and we've seen the exact opposite. The exact opposite is happening.
Yeah, and one other story that goes along with this, where we were talking about energy and the U.S., this story came out that Drill Baby Drill has set a new record in the United States. Basically, Trump opened up everything on day one. Said, do whatever we need to fill the strategic reserves, start drilling, get as much oil as we can out of everything. And Doug Bergeron and Chris Wright wasted no time, and today the U.S. domestic oil production hit a record of 13.488 million barrels produced per day in March of 2025, which is another thing that is leading to the cost going down because, I mean, we've talked about it plenty of times on this show. If the shipping comes down, some of the pricing comes down too. If everything is affected by oil. So once you're starting to get the U.S. less dependent on imported oil and start getting to be a net exporter again, we'll see prices come down from that too. So everything's kind of coming together as we had said Scott Bessent's plan would do. And the major key piece still we're going to probably see in July, which is the reconciliation bill. The big, beautiful bill.
The big, beautiful bill. And I
hate that name.
There's going to be some tweaking. Hey, Trump A/B tested that, so it's fine.
Yeah. Still hate the name.
All right, Chip Roy. So
how dare you call me by my doppelganger's name?
So yeah, like when we talk about, there's also when it comes to the energy and oil, and this is again something I like to keep referencing and getting into people's heads. It's not just the fact that energy costs come down for Americans. The geopolitical impact of lowering the cost of oil per barrel can't be understated, because if you do that, Russia can't fight wars without being able to sell oil. Iran can't fund anything bad without being able to sell oil. Like these are these main geopolitical adversaries that we want to make deals with to get peace are much more willing to do so if they can't sell oil at $80, $90, $100 a barrel.
Right.
And
you flood the market, the price of the barrel comes down.
Yep, exactly.
Or they have to choose not to release as much oil as they have been because we are now bringing so many barrels to the market as well. So it's either drive the cost down or they have to sit on some of their inventory in this case, I guess, because they don't want to sell it at that price. So it's good around the world, and the petrol dollar stays strong.
And there's a reason why the only country that can probably compete at low dollar value oil, there used to be two, Venezuela and Saudi Arabia. But Venezuela has gone so batshit crazy under Maduro that their oil output is. But Saudi Arabia can actually still profitably sell at $35 to $40 a barrel.
Right.
So Saudi Arabia is kind of okay with it because it'll basically wipe out a lot of their competition, and so that's why bin Salman, the crown prince, has not been fighting against it, and it looks like we got a contribution.
Deeple for $2 over on the Rumble side. Chad, I agree. I don't understand why deflation is bad. I can somewhat understand when we're in a national crisis like a war or a faux flu. Also, where is the U.S. aid money going in the education department? Well, yeah, I mean deflation is not a bad thing for us. It makes your dollar go further. And Jonathan Conroy is saying gas in upstate New York is $3, not much of a change since Trump got in office. The thing there is, from the last 4 or 5 years, inflation also hits that side of it. So $3 now, when it was $4 or $5 for quite a bit there, I mean, you still got some inflation hitting the gas prices. And so if you look at adjusted for inflation, $3 is actually quite a bit less than where we were a couple years ago.
And I don't know what shenanigans are happening maybe in New York, because I know where I live, gas prices over the last couple weeks have even gone down another 20 cents. Like
we're still hanging in the $3 range here.
Where
but
are
that
you
could
at
also
now?
be, I think 314 is what I got it for yesterday. I think.
I'm around
I don't pay
280
attention
now.
anymore. I don't pay attention because it's like, unless it's going skyrocketing like it did, it's like I've got to buy the gas either way. So
Well, the other thing people need to remember is we're probably going to see some of the benefit probably over the next few weeks because refineries switch to the summer blend. So the EPA has two different blends of gasoline that they require. There's a winter fall blend, and then there's this what they call the summer blend. And so in spring, they'll take the refineries offline. They'll do the maintenance to switch over to process the oil into the summer blend. And this is where we're probably just starting to hit the summer blend. And summer
yeah,
blend is cheaper to refine, so we're going to see cheaper costs.
yeah, we're at on average the lowest price of premium in Colorado Springs
Who the hell's
is
buying
about
premium?
290. I don't know. That's just what the search brought up.
No, premium. I had to buy premium when I had an RX-8. It was the worst gas experience of my
Yeah,
life.
my dad had an Acura TL that required
Hard
premium.
premium. I only
My
went to
Mini did.
Costco. Yeah, I only went to Costco to go to it. But it was really fun to drive. You had to learn how to do a lot of maintenance on that kind of engine because it was rotary. There's
Yeah.
a reason they got discontinued. But so
I loved my Mini. It took premium, but it had also got such good gas mileage. It was that who cared? I mean, I was still spending less than what my wife was on her mid-size SUV, getting E80 or not E85, but 85. But that thing was so fun to drive. I love the Jeep though now too. So, yes, Costco is about 20 to 25 cents per gallon cheaper usually than the surrounding
yeah,
gas stations, Eric. It's actually one of the biggest perks of having a Costco membership. Not that we're shilling Costco,
no.
but regardless of whether you buy in bulk, that $60 membership, you save that if you get gas every time you need to fill up at Costco throughout the year.
And the hot dog meal still a
Yeah,
dollar
the
fifty.
$1.50 hot dog. Yeah, it's never going away.
Their
Or the
pizza's not bad.
$4.99 rotisserie chicken that I don't trust their chicken. But
Gotta be a
whatever.
loss leader. All right.
Oh, it's a loss leader, but it's also at the back of the store, so you have to walk through the whole store to get a chicken.
Now, speaking of economic stuff, I've got this was a forum. I've got a clip here of Jamie Dimon, who is the head of J.P. Morgan Chase, has been in charge of J.P. Morgan Chase going on 20 years now.
Is that the one you're sharing already?
Yep.
Okay.
This is him speaking at the Reagan Economic Forum, and see what he sounds like. Like maybe if he's like feeling like the winds of change have been hitting America lately.
We have to acknowledge the grievances that have put us in this position to start with, and they're
winds of
real.
change.
Okay, immigration. What the hell were we doing? You know.
You think he was saying that 3 years ago? Like immigration, what the hell were we doing? No.
The bottom 20% of our population, you know, their wages didn't go up for 20 years. They're dying 7 years younger. You know, when administrations, you know, the Biden administration is giving all this money to EVs and cars and wasting a lot of money on green stuff, which isn't going to work, and all that. Do you think people in rural cities, do you think people in inner cities thought they were getting anything? Do you think that those people think that the American government is fair and competent and that this was in their best interest? Their schools don't work. They're not getting the skills they need, and you heard that just now. So we got to acknowledge these. And I also call it blue tape because, you know, Republicans, you generally don't like red tape. You understand the devastation of it. But, you know, most Democrats, they love it. They want more of it. And they want to make it so confusing you can't even meet the rules, so you get punished and fined afterwards.
That doesn't, like, I can tell you from having listened to Jamie Dimon on CNBC, this is not shit he was saying.
Right.
Ever. Like, he's going crazy now. And one of the takes that I saw on Twitter was, and it was Mike Cernovich. I know some people like him, some people don't. I just like to see what sometimes
Some of
he
the
says about
information he puts out there is useful, and sometimes I don't care what he says.
Yeah, so this is the take that he gave that I actually kind of, in terms of how what's the frame to get Jamie Dimon to start talking this way. And this is his tweet was, he doesn't give a shit about this for real, but you're either going to get populism or you're going to get Luigi, these market manipulating assholes slowly realizing this. They're still scum and not our friends. But so what's happening, and this is a take that I have been thinking about more and more. You're seeing that Luigi Mangione, who executed the United Healthcare CEO, is being framed up as the great hero of our time by left-wing nut jobs.
Well, it's just another great hero in a long string of great heroes like George Floyd, and George Floyd, Luigi, anybody that goes out and does something stupid that they can turn into a martyr or a hero, they'll do it. Doesn't matter what common sense says about the person. It's, well, did he stick up for what we think on our side? Doesn't matter how bad the person is, they're still going to call him a hero or a martyr.
Yeah, and that's why I think this is a fair point. It reminds, if anybody remembers in Batman Begins, the first of the Nolan trilogy, when you find out that Liam Neeson is Ra's al Ghul, right? And they talk about how they were going to try to destroy Gotham, right? And that they tried to destroy Gotham when Bruce was a kid. But when the criminal Joe Cool killed Bruce Wayne's parents, it sent such shockwaves through the elite of Gotham. They actually started trying to make things better for the average people, and that that delayed their
that got a reprieve for it.
That kept their plan from trying to get the lower class to rise up against them from working. And there's something to be said for that, because historically, there's Joe Chill, not Joe Cool, Joe Chill. There's something to be said, because if you go back, there's a lot of political science thought. I know Brahma is a political science major. You might have studied this too. That a lot of the social reforms we got in the early 1900s were directly coming off of the fact that post-industrial revolution, with a very large segment of a working underclass, that the elites realized that we either need to start giving them money and sharing, like 40-hour work week, paying a living wage, doing a lot of these other things, or we're going to get communist revolutions trying to take our heads off.
Start offering reason to be happy with your job, not just work you into the ground.
Yeah, so you've got to,
or work you to literally to death.
So we could be seeing a repeat of that, because we had a bubble up a little bit with the financial crisis, where there was Occupy Wall Street, and then on the right side they had the Tea Party.
The Tea Party.
People don't want to get acknowledge, but there was a lot of overlap in between the two, of being very mistrustful of corporate power.
Right.
It's just the solution to it is very different, right? Left wing Occupy Wall Street solution was communism seize the means of production, whereas the Tea Party was individual freedom, liberty, deregulation, for the individual, but oversight to the oligarchy.
Both sides had problems with the corporatocracy,
and which they should, because I think the one thing we've seen that is I think beyond argument at this point is that the corporatocracy, which pushed all these free trade agreements starting in the 80s and 90s, which improved their bottom line for Wall Street quarterly reports, have hollowed out and destroyed America to a large degree in terms of manufacturing, our capability of building things in our own country, being able to take care of our own people. That corporatocracy is what pushed and pushed and pushed to get all this immigration for low-cost labor into the United States. As we've seen from when we watched during the debates, post-debates, when the PBS went to that factory in Springfield, Ohio, and we played those clips of him talking about how I can't get Americans to work for $8 an hour.
Yeah.
So I see we got another financial
Yeah.
support message.
Over on the Rumble side, $2 from Toxic Man Flu. Serious question for the panel. For Pride Month, which one of you will dress up like Liberace and which one will be Elton John? I can't sing, and I can't play piano. I'm not sure which one I can be.
I don't think that would apply to either of us, but it's fine. Appreciate the support. And for everybody else in chat, Brahma does have memberships on his channel that you can join. We always do make a point of making sure that any super chats or Rumble rants are read as soon as they come through, or as soon as we
As
hit
quickly
a point,
as we can.
as soon as we can work them in without interrupting a current play.
Without
But
interrupting Chad.
Yeah. But if you want to make sure that gets read, and remember, you get, if you're a member, you get your membership chats too. That's
and
your
your emojis, channel emojis.
Yeah, so take advantage. These are all great things to support the team, Brahma's team, and making America
Team
great
Brahma.
again. Team Brahma.
Marika. Yeah, I can't remember I had a point about what you were saying, and then lost it when we switched.
Oh, about
Super Chat.
how these corporate people are starting to realize they either need to maybe help America get back on its feet a little bit, or they're going to get assassinated.
Well, and that's also where it's been kind of funny watching. I mean, that is a place where the parties kind of have flipped a little bit. You've seen two major portions of, the parties have changed over. One is the left has now run straight to Wall Street and the large corporations, and all they do is shill for them at this point. The right has become more questioning of both things, and the other place is, outside of a few crazy neocons and warhawks, the left has flipped now to the party of wanting endless wars, and the right has pretty much gotten out of that business. It's been an interesting thing to watch over, the last, 30 years now. But the Republicans have kind of become the party of the working man, especially under Trump now. And he's doing everything he can to put money back into the middle class's pocket, regardless of what they say on MSNBC and CNN.
Yeah. It's
Toxic Man Flu for another $2. Save the super chats money for comedy lessons. You read that like Ben Stein in Fast Times. Hey, unlike your boss, I am at least able to read them. It may be boring, but I can read them, even with your misspelling in the last one, Talks.
Yeah, but on a deeper level, that it brings up a lot of philosophical questions about, the right and left switching, and we've seen this realignment coming. Logistically, what we can probably say right now, and people are gonna kind of react whatever way they want to, is that Buchanan was right. Pat Buchanan has been proven through the lens of history as being 100% completely right about everything he was saying in 1992 when he primaried George H.W. Bush and advocated for the rest of his life about what was happening to America, what was going to impact negatively America, and how we should be fixing it. All the positions that Trump has taken that are now 80-20 issues to get people back, voting for him, are effectively the Pat Buchanan planks from 1992 about immigration, workers' rights, making sure manufacturing is protected in the United States. I think the lens of history should be very, very forgiving to Pat Buchanan, but since most historians are left-wing ideologues, we're not going to see that probably play out for a long time.
Yeah, they'll just have him as a side note in history.
Yeah, but at least people our age I think we should be probably pointing that out, because I do like to give people their due. Pat Buchanan was wrongfully painted as xenophobic and all the stuff we're super used to
Everything
now
about
because,
nationalists now,
yeah,
or populist.
he was the one that had it done to him first, and it was done by the Bushes, by H.W. Bush. And then that same playbook was then applied by Democrats to every future Republican who ever tried to make points against anything. So
True.
I hate the Bush. Like one of the great achievements of Trump is that he killed the Bush dynasty.
Yeah. Low energy Jeb.
Low energy Jeb. And that what's the Prescott, George Prescott Bush, the one out of Texas that is trying to he's effectively
The Bush
toasted.
dynasty is done. I mean,
yeah, the most successful next generation one is going to be the one who's on the Today Show hosting, Jenna Bush or whatever her name.
Oh yeah, but the Bush daughters are not exactly intellectual giants.
No.
Deeple for $2 on the Rumble side. I wonder how little Chad is going to explain how the Ottoman Empire is connected to something tonight. Also, remember to send Tox Spider-Man memes on X and use the hashtag Toxic Terrorizers too. He loves it.
I mean, if you want to go back to the Ottoman, I mean, we had an irrational attack, which is part of a global intifada at this point movement.
I mean, what we're seeing is the Western civilization absolutely cannot integrate or be any part of the Islamic religion, and all the people kind of pushing that, well, Israel is better off with a two-state solution and all that kind of stuff. Is no, Israel cannot live with that as its neighbor. I mean, we see it over and over and over again. It's not compatible. I mean, they can do it in their countries, but it's not compatible with Western civilization. Now go on the Ottoman Empire.
Well, I mean, if you logistically speaking, we've been engaged in this battle for 1,000 years. It's using different tactics, but the West is being invaded different ways with different levels of success. And right now, Europe is not what it was when we were younger. Like when you thought about going to travel to Europe. I mean,
Europe used to have its own individual, each country had its own individual cultures, and you could tell who is a Brit, who is a German, not just by their accents, but also kind of, nobody has ever really been as nationalistic as we have been, I think. Even they will tell you, it's weird seeing a whole bunch of American flags all over the place. Patriotic, I guess. But they all had their own individual cultures that went back hundreds or thousands of years. And they're losing that because they're being invaded. And that's what we're trying to get away from.
Correct. I went to London for college spring break twice. I love the city. You could go there. At the time,
loved past tense.
It is past tense. I wouldn't touch London now. I wouldn't go there. I wouldn't. It had, like, when you went, it had such great history. You wouldn't have to worry about speaking a foreign language, right? You're in England. You could,
sure.
The exchange rate was fairly nice for the US dollar at that time. It was a great experience. Now I would worry that if I go to London at any given point, I might get stabbed, macheted, whatever.
Like being in Chicago, but with bladed weapons instead of guns.
Yeah, I think toxin.
Yeah. Toxic Man Flu for another $2, putting some inflection into the voice. Pat Buchanan was an Ottoman, I think.
If you mean, I think he was.
He's just trying to connect it to the Ottoman Empire for you.
Yeah, he was more. He was more the lone man standing at the bridge. I forget which, in terms of the Roman mythology, who that was.
That one I'm not familiar with. I mean, you could go with Thermopylae in the 300, I guess, but he was just one, not 300.
Horatius. He was he was famous. It was, if you've ever seen the movie Oblivion, that was
Don't
the
think
one
so.
that with Tom Cruise. Actually, another really solid Tom Cruise movie. It was the famous story of just the lone Roman who held a bridge against the incoming Etruscans, army on his own, by himself.
Now I understand what Tox was saying. He clarified.
Oh,
Pat
the
Buchanan was an
furniture piece.
Ottoman, as in the furniture piece Ottoman. It was
See,
the
this is-
capitalization, I think, that threw us off.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't tend to capitalize my footstools.
That's true. That would not be normally a
Thanks,
kind of
Tox.
thing. Yeah, but that's why I don't have anything against any individual person of that faith, but as a whole, as a group, the leadership of whatever country that is dominated by that is not an ally in terms of Western cultural values.
Completely
They are
incompatible.
very different. They are completely incompatible. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and those are core Western values, Enlightenment values. Don't blend with that faith.
Well, individual freedom doesn't gel much with many theocracies. I mean, it's kind of the definition. Rosa brought up the Epic City down in right outside of Dallas that they were proposing to build, where basically it would be only Muslims live in the city, and a portion of their taxes would go to the local mosque and everything. Governor Wheels has put pretty much a kibosh on that ain't happening. They've been trying to do it for a couple years, but
okay,
what, Jasmine?
Jasmine Crockett.
We've called him Governor Wheels on our side for a long time.
I guess, yeah,
she's
went
just not
Hot
allowed to
Wheels.
say it because she's trying to use it as an actual mean term. We do
that's
it because Governor Wheels is a hero.
So for those in chat, what he's done is Brahma has basically
I've taken back the word.
He's told Jasmine Crockett, that's our word. You don't get to say it. You can't say it. That's our word.
But apparently something that is not owned anymore by either side is the hand gesture for, because Cory
Booker did it.
Decided that he would do the exact same motion and almost the exact same energy as Elon Musk. And
Cory Booker's such a douche, but yeah.
Oddly enough, it's not getting the attention that Elon Musk did.
Of course it isn't. I like the I think I saw the comparison headline where Elon Musk's headline was Elon Musk brings back, Nazi salute, and for Cory Booker it was right-wing people attack Cory Booker over
Yes. Right-wing what is the word that they always use? They use it in so many of their headlines. But pounce. Right-wing pounces on Cory Booker for hand gesture. It's always a pounce if it's from the right wing. The rest of the time, it's just the left is just pointing out reality, but it's a pounce if the right wing points out anything. And all we said was, well, apparently Cory Booker is the same as Elon Musk because he's making the exact same hand signals.
Yeah,
not exactly a pouncing, more pointing out that they really do not want to be fair on anything. It's a double standard every time.
Stephen Miller's
I'm trying to find
about that. Just as you're looking that up, a terror attack was committed in Boulder today by an illegal alien, granted a work visa by the Biden administration. Then he illegally overstayed that visa. In response, the Biden administration then gave him a work permit. Suicidal migration must be fully reversed. Yeah.
Yep, but I mean, that's pretty much what we had already found at the beginning of the episode, so, or the stream. Trying to think what else we had out there tonight, because we've kind of been all over the place. So we had Cory Booker. Oh, well, the title of the stream. So the Dems are going to spend $20 million to try to figure out how to get men to vote for them, specifically young men, to come back to the Democratic Party, which I find hilarious, because after the white dudes for Harris or white dudes for Kamala, whatever that campaign was, and running around Waltz everywhere, it's not, you don't need to spend $20 million to figure out what the problem is, right?
It reminds me of all those wasteful, like, Doge government studies that we found, where like we spent all this money to do this. Like, hey,
why are they turning the freaking frogs gay?
Yeah. So it was like, we spent $20 million. We've got results. What does it tell us? We lost men because we hate them.
Yes, because everything we say about them tells them we want nothing to do with you, especially if you're white. Get a quote here from Joy Behar of The View, because kind of funny, they were talking about this whole thing. It's a pretty quick article, so I'll read it real quick. It was basically the back and forth between the co-hosts. So they're talking about this whole thing on spending $20 million to figure out American men. Behar said, so since Trump scored big with young male voters last election, Democrats are spending $20 million to learn how to speak their language. You heard that right, $20 million or $20 million bucks just to talk to boys. Is this a good idea or a waste of money? Sarah Haynes responded, I think it's the wrong way to go about the problem, because the Democrats are asking, how do we get male voters? The disillusionment of men is, how do we care about our men and boys? It should be about how we solve the root problems that drove men to feel like they had nowhere to go. Alyssa Farah then steps in and says, the most common thing I hear from men who are open to supporting Trump is they feel like they want to be able to provide for future and build wealth and don't want to be ashamed because they want to provide and want to have money. They do see these statistics of how men are falling behind and want to be able to highlight it and talk about it, but not be pushed back saying, oh yeah, well, you're excluding girls and women if you want to do something to advance men. And here's Behar's big response. Joy Behar. You wonder what I think? I think it's a waste of money. Maybe these guys should spend their money on teaching men not to be such sexist. Maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe that is it, Joy. The second you immediately go to misogynistic and the patriarchy and all that crap again, all you do is push men over to the other side, because we are tired of these screeching harpies like Joy Behar trying to tell men how men should be. I mean, I'm not on like the manosphere side of anything, but the demonization of men has gotten to be to where, yeah, all the younger generations of guys are going to immediately flock to the side that doesn't tell them that everything they do is worthless and useless because of the patriarchy. We don't need everybody constantly talking down on men for just being men. There is no such thing as toxic masculinity. There is toxic femininity at this point because the feminists have taken it way too far.
There's also a toxic man flu, but that's a whole different problem.
That's a different toxic masculinity.
Yeah. So this is fun. They've canceled it. Upon the reaction of the internet, including attention from the White House, Olivia and Micah decided they no longer wanted to go ahead with the event tomorrow. I will be doing the stream on reaching young men alone, or perhaps with another guest. Like this job
that
of
thing on the left is what they thought would get into the minds of young men and try to get them back to the Democrat Party.
Yeah, which is, there's go. Look, we've talked on the show about how we're not fans of Andrew Tate or any of those guys.
No, and that's the other part of this, though.
That's the other end of the
You're pushing him
pendulum.
to that side of it on the right, where it does become something that is completely toxic. And it's not toxic because of the masculinity. It's toxic because Andrew Tate is a toxic, horrible human being, in my opinion. And you're pushing guys to that because that's where they start to feel some acceptance. And when they start to feel some acceptance after being crapped on their whole lives, yeah, they're going to feel pretty good about it and maybe adopt some of those ideas. Both sides need to be courting the young men. The right has it a lot easier because we don't demonize them. The left, they've pushed them away as far as they can go. But we also have to keep them from going over to the manosphere and to the Andrew Tate type crap too, because that is not a solution either. I understand why some young men go that way. Like I said, that's where you get your first feeling of acceptance, so you gravitate towards it. But it's not the answer either.
Well, the thing that you're running into is when you have 20, 30 plus years of the assault on just traditional male existence,
just being masculine in any way, being chivalrous in any way. I don't need you to open the frickin' door. What's your problem? Okay, bitch. I mean, at some point it pushes people over the edge. They're going to stop doing the things that men traditionally did. I still open the door for everybody. If somebody says something, I'm going to answer back that pretty much you're a rude and a rude person, and it's completely unjustifiable to throw a fit because somebody's doing something nice for you.
And that's where we have to. I think this is where just and I hate when I say this because you see all the clips of the crazy left-wing pastors they put in place, but a traditional church environment tends to negate a lot of these problems. And it's not because women who are Christian don't work or have jobs, but the traditional Christian value system does advocate and kind of reinforce the masculine and feminine roles within relationships and masculine
to be the
and
leader of the household
and
to be the breadwinner.
And that doesn't mean women can't work or do other things, but it does mean that the responsibility for that should rightly fall towards the male in the relationship, because we are designed and built
as long
to
as
do
capable.
That.
Right.
Yeah.
There's always exceptions, but I mean that is the true natural order of things, regardless of whatever wave of feminism we're on now tries to tell you.
Correct. And so that's where the problem is. We've had all of our major cultural institutions infiltrated. They came first they went for education, so they could capture the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Then once they had that on lockdown, because it didn't take long, they started pushing into the church setting. They went with the Catholics. They were infiltrated the Jesuits, where and this is not controversial, it's known, there's a very large segment of pro-communist thought within the Jesuits, especially down if they were coming out of South America.
Sure.
Like our previous
very
Pope.
Socialist. Yeah.
Yeah. But and they also went into look what's going on where you see
the Episcopalian Church.
Yeah, the Episcopalian Church.
The Episcopalians aren't even.
Yeah.
They're not even related to the Christian religion at this point.
What's interesting is how open. If you want to get into the double standard, as we move away from the traditional courtship and traditional ways of meeting a partner. The ways like me and you did, sexual harassment at work.
Yeah.
we run into this when we have an, for lack of a better word, an app-based dating system where women are constantly trying to filter just for, I want him over 6 foot tall. He needs to make over $100,000 a year. X,
well,
Y,
you see it on Twitter all the time. 99.9% of women seem to be chasing the 1% of men. The 1% of men have their choice of almost all the women because they're in the 1%. Women will, because of apps and because women are always told that they are princesses and queens, they don't think that they actually have to live in reality where, a 5 marries a 5, a 6 marries a 6, whatever.
So
sure, you can shoot above every now and then, but not every woman is going to get a 1% man because there's not many of them.
Well, I'm going to use an example, and this is going to sound crass, but I think it's very accurate. It's like it's Spotify. It's the way we do music now, right? You don't pay for music. You just listen. You can listen to it.
You pay the subscription to Spotify.
When we were younger, you had to save up, and you bought a CD, and a CD could be anywhere from like $13 to $25, depending on the artist. If it was a double,
looking at you
album.
Smashing Pumpkins double CD release,
the double albums,
Melancholy and Infinite Sadness.
Right, but all right. So, but here's the thing: as consumers of music, we have been open. We have now an open, almost infinite choice at no cost. And in this way, music is devalued, right? We don't think of music that, like, when you spent the money on that album, you listened to every song. You usually,
at least one playthrough to see if there was anything else good besides the singles.
Yeah, and then you'd find, and within those, you'd find the deeper cuts that you liked. Yep. Good night, Penny. Have a good, I guess, good week. It's every day is the weekend when you're unemployed. So for me, it doesn't stop.
Screw
you. Hey, look, my bank account doesn't want this to keep going. But what I'm going to get at is, like, so if you're one of these in the app-based dating scene, if you're one of these top, I would say top 5% of men, women have
your pick.
They've devalued themselves so much for these men that women have no like, what I'm saying is a woman has no value to that part of the dating pool. Like, they are as a commodity, right? But men and women in this setting are commodities, right? You want to have value for each other. In this sense, that top 5%, they have absolutely no value for women because it's like Spotify. If you don't like this one, you just swipe to the next song.
Right.
Whereas in the old days, like what Brahma was saying, is because there was value, you had to spend resources, time, effort at every level to meet and court your partner. There was an inherent value to that person, and there was an inherent respect for the value they brought to the relationship. Like, everybody, each side had value. Now what they've done is, on the women's side, because they only want to put value, they only see value in this top 5% of the pool, they don't even see the remaining balance as an available option. They've decommodified the Rebecca because, like Brahma said,
that top 5% has no incentive to actually marry any of them because they can sit there and run through as many of them as they want because they're getting swiped on left and right.
Yeah. I do see the chat about where women tend to decline over age and men refine. There is an argument about that from
the wall.
About
the argument about the wall.
I
think of the wall more as, because of when I was born, not when your looks start to decline, but when your ability to bear a child declines.
Yeah.
But that's the more traditional way of thinking of it as, trying to start a family.
Exactly. Now, the other thing that people don't talk about, as a result of the women only chasing this 5 to 10% of men, and that's all they're on this app-based system. All right. So to me, it's a lot like me in my employment setting, right? When you're applying online to jobs, and you just send off your resume, and you hit the apply, you fill out the questionnaire, and you attach your resume, and you just send it off, right? You have no idea if anyone has seen it if anyone responds to it.
Right.
It's into the void, and occasionally you will get an email later on when you don't get the job, just saying we're going in a different direction. But most of the time, you just don't even get a response now from businesses. If you're a young man who's living in this app-based system and you are not in that top 10% based on height, weight, physical looks, income, whatever metrics are applying to that 10%, you don't even, like, if women are swiping, you don't know. You don't see you're not getting feedback, right? You're not getting a response where a woman says, I like this from you, but I don't like this. I don't, when you were dating and you were younger, you might get, after a date, oh, it's just not into you the way you were doing this. You get feedback and you can refine your process. You can get better at it. You get interaction.
Somebody honest.
Yeah. Or, I mean,
and Rosa, this may sound like we're being very one-sided, but yes, I get it. It's hard for women too on the apps because, men have certain standards as well that they try to, they're more likely to swipe on very certain people as well. So it's not easy for anybody. I would never want to be in the dating pool.
Well, I would say that from a women's, all right, just to reverse it and talk about the negative consequences on the women's side, like I said, that 5 to 10% of men who have absolutely no value in women now because they've decommodified themselves so much. Think of how terrible the experience is for the women when the men have their choice of the litter, and as soon as they think they might have a relationship, he's like, peace out. I've called my Uber. I'm out of here.
Right, like I was saying, there's no incentive for those men to actually marry anybody. They're well off on their own. They don't need any kind of partner. They can just use the thousands that are available for whatever gratification they want.
Correct. So that's why I do prefer, again, one of the ways you can negate that, if it possible, is a traditional church environment, because if you've got a large enough one, they'll do mixers. They'll get they'll usually have something where they're working with people to try to get them into relationships with traditional value sets. But even that's difficult today. There is such a constant flood of just high pressure, go have sex, go have meaningless
flings. Finding a 22-year-old virgin is damn near impossible, I would imagine.
There's so much pressure to get women to completely shift their mindset to that of a 5 to 10% male, where all you're trying to do is just increase your body count, like, to take the term from the whatever podcast, right? What's your body count?
Right, whatever cast.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers you hear, like, I am still amazed. Maybe I'm just a product of our generation, Brahma. When I hear clips from that show, and these women are like, my body count's like 100 and whatever, I'm like, holy shit. Like,
yeah,
to me, that is ridiculous. But nowadays, that's not crazy. Then
I still think it is.
I would say.
I think most guys think it is. I think most girls have started to deceive themselves to think it's not. The thing is, even a girl who is not that good looking can technically get laid pretty much anytime they want. Anytime.
Yeah.
They are the gatekeepers of sex. I mean, guys will do pretty much anything to get some, even if it's, the old joke about the paper bag, whatever. So
I
it
just
doesn't
think,
surprise me at all. But I mean, yeah, the dating world is not a place, like I said, not a place I would want to be at all.
I couldn't imagine dealing with it now. I've been married now almost 20 years, but together with my wife 22. And
I got married in 2003, so we're at what, 22 years? Well, yeah. 22 years. My marriage is old enough to drink, and my body count is still 1.
Yeah, I
shockingly... maybe I'm not the person to really be talking on current dating and stuff, because I did it more the religious way, but I don't know.
it's yeah. I got married in so 2000s. So after having dated, for a couple, we were engaged within a year though. We you know we were good to go. But we just held off on getting married till we finished school and had jobs and could pay for it ourselves. By the way,
Sure.
sandals was a great investment, man. We got the wedding included, the 1 week like vacation thing. It was $5,000,
Sure.
included the flights. I had people around me in
We
Northern
drove
Virginia.
to Vegas and hit a deer on the way out, and so didn't total the car, but severely damaged the car on the way to Vegas from Colorado Springs. And so we already had a $1,500 deductible hanging over our heads for
Your
our
deductible
marriage.
is $1,500. Jesus.
Sure, I was an insurance guy, so
Why would you put your deductible that high?
because chances are comp wasn't going to be anything other than hail totaling out your car. So
No, comp is
1,500 out of
animals.
the I know it is, but chances are you're not going to hit an animal in Colorado Springs. We hit it outside of like Grand Junction, 7 hours into the mountains.
Awesome One says sandals is the naked. No, sandals
No,
is that's
there's
hedonism
Sandals,
or
and then
whatever.
there's the other one. No, Sandals does operate another company that is
They have beaches.
the adults only.
No, sandals is the
version.
one where. No, all right. So here's the thing: sandals doesn't allow kids at the resort, but it's not naked beaches or anything. It's
Not
just,
naked, but it's adults only.
Which if you're going for a vacation, you don't want necessarily kids. They have their other wing, which is called beaches,
Beaches.
which is their family version, and that way, it keeps. Because look, if you're there on a family vacation, I don't want to hear from the people who are young couples who are annoyed that my kids are at the restaurant with me. So it's nice to segregate both sides because as as someone who has a kid and will take them to family restaurants, I get annoyed when people get huffy when your kid got a little loud in a family restaurant.
Oh, that was my biggest thing. Both of my daughters, I was hard as hell on them anytime we went to a restaurant. Like, that they were not allowed to get up out of their chair. They were not allowed to get real loud. Loud is my big problem with kids. But now that they're older and they're dealing with their nieces and nephews that are younger, because like I said, I got married at like 2021. We had kids immediately. So everybody else in the family, the kids are still real little and my kids are old, but they let their kids run around quite a bit. And I look at my daughters and they're like mortified that kids would be acting this way. And it's like, see, this is why I did this to you.
So this
Because
is my
you understand that
Okay, so
there's
this is the
nothing more
caveat.
annoying than
No,
little kids going crazy at a
okay.
restaurant.
I'm gonna push back on you for one thing. I said specifically family restaurants. I'm not talking about going to like Uncle Julio's or
No,
even
I'm talking about
Olive
Texas Roadhouse, Olive Garden, anywhere. I don't like kids running around the restaurant.
See, I didn't let him run around, but if he made a couple noises or he's a kid. We're in a family restaurant.
Oh, I get
People
that.
should adjust that. If you go see it as a kids movie, if you go see Lilo and Stitch and there's kids making noise, don't bitch about it. You went to a kids movie. Now,
I
if you
get that.
Yeah,
I'm
so that's
talking
what
about specifically in a public space, like a restaurant. I made my kids act like they were sitting in a public space in a restaurant. They weren't allowed to go nuts. And we didn't leave it messy. I mean, there's some things you can't get your kids to not do, at least a few times. But for the most part, compared to some of the other kids I see, I had my kids pretty much on lockdown at a restaurant. They could still color on the, kids menu and all that kind of stuff, but they weren't going to be getting up out of their chair and going and trying to sit on anybody's lap, that kind of stuff. And they agree at this point. They were happy that they were raised that way. Now looking at how kids act in restaurants now. Yeah, copied. In a Chuck E. Cheese, no, they can freaking go wild. But I mean, even at like a Carrabba's, it didn't have to be a high-end restaurant. We just had this is how you behave at a restaurant. We're far afield from politics at this point.
Yeah, but this is how what happens when we have time to just hang out and talk what we want.
Yeah, but we're only at the hour 34 that we would have been on our normal show.
You know what? I think I don't know. I think the discussion about the men and women and dating and that's
well, Eric
that's
did
very
ask
relevant.
what was dating like back when we were dating back in the 2000s. You walked up to a girl you thought was cute and asked her for her number and hoped that you didn't get shot down. Then you had a few talks on the phone likely and tried to set up a date. You decided where you were going. You paid for it because that's what the guy did. And then you hope to maybe get a kiss at the end of the date. Back when I was dating, it wasn't anything else other than hopefully you get a second date and you guys kick it off, hit it off. But I mean, it was literally pick a movie, pick a restaurant, miniature golf, whatever. Typically, I didn't try to do movies because you don't really get to know anybody at a movie. But
see, I'm sorry that you didn't want to support the business I was in at the time. That's terrible.
Well, I don't think movies make a great first date because you're supposed to sit basically quiet and watch a movie for 2 hours.
That's why you do dinner and a movie.
Right. But that depended on how old you were and what your budget was for a date.
Well, I worked at the theater, so the movie was free for me. So the only thing I had to pay for was the dinner. What was your go-to response when you got shot down? Oh, that's cool.
Okay,
no biggie.
I get it.
Gotcha. You never did, like those the alleged jerk guys. You're like, I'm sorry, lesbian, right?
Yeah.
No. Thank you,
Comics,
Chad.
we're going to go another 30, 45 minutes if you want to pop by.
Yeah. Come on down. I did see. All right. So we've got, there's copied said, so will the Doge cuts ever go through? I think you can do a rescission package, which falls under this. This is where I think this is, important to understand that reconciliation rules also apply to rescission packages, which is taking back money or giving it back. But there's a specific process to do that, which is the president actually has to prepare that and send it to the Congress for them to vote on it. But once he does that, it falls under the same rules as reconciliation, where it only has to be a majority and can't be filibustered. And it can't be filibustered in the Senate. I think what Trump is doing is he wants his big, beautiful bill where it hits his priorities, where it's not as controversial, right? Because right now he's going to be able to get these blue state Republicans in the Congress to vote because they're getting a SALT increase and this and that. And then he's going to send the rescission package separate from that to codify the Doge cuts. So that because those are controversial and some of those things might get played with by the Congress, right? They shouldn't be controversial, but this way it separates out something that could be a poison pill that the Democrats could latch onto out of his number one priority, which is getting those tax packages done.
Right. Because yeah, I mean, the whole thing is with the Doge cuts specifically, there's going to be a lot of congressmen on both sides that are probably not real happy with having some of their pet projects and pork cut through what Doge has found. So you may not be able to get things through with that as far as the big, beautiful bill and the things he wants done. So you don't want to include it in that. I get Elon's frustration. They found tons of money that is really not going to anything it should. But Elon's also not the politician there. I mean, he's gonna speak out on it and be upset that, we haven't codified it yet. But that doesn't mean it's not going to be. There's still a long time left in this term, as far as presidential terms go.
And it makes sense. You need to, like, Trump is trying to make wholesale gigantic changes to the economic system of the United States as it's been for 40 plus years. You need to prioritize getting that done before you, and I know that the Doge stuff is important, but you've got to understand the order of operations. You can't weigh things down when you need to get that priority.
Extending the Trump tax cuts are probably the most important thing right now, because we'd all be completely screwed if they don't get those included. Because that was a major boon for the middle class. And they're set to expire if they don't get it through. So
exactly, and that's why Trump wants that first. And then here's the other thing, like Lindsay says, that's why the Republicans that hold up codifying the cuts need to be primaried. You get your big, beautiful bill passed, and then when you send the rescission package separate on its own, you can truly identify who's a problem. Like, are the Chip Roys, Thomas Masseys of the world going to suddenly not vote for these two? Like, which, or is it more the John Cornyn's and the people like that that need to be corrected?
What's up, comics?
What's up, guys?
Yeah, the whole thing with Chip Roy and Thomas Massey, I'm happy that they stand on their principles to a degree. But at some point, just like we were talking about on abortion, where, you take the wins that you can get, take the wins. I'm tired of even the guys that I like or somewhat agree with, take the win where you can get it. Don't sit there and shoot everybody in the foot because it's not perfect for you, because no piece of legislation is going to be perfect.
That's kind of how I feel about it with anything when it comes to stuff.
Well,
you're not going to get everything you want.
Yeah, and a good example of that, by the way, is from the Democrat playbook. Like, look at the Affordable Care Act, known as Obamacare in most places. That wasn't what they wanted, but it was enough of what they were wanting to get done that it was going to start pushing towards what they wanted, so they took it.
Yeah, it was a stair step to get the single payer.
Yeah.
Obamacare was never supposed to be in place this long. Hillary Clinton was supposed to be president, and it was supposed to get to single payer within the next 8 years from when Obamacare went into place.
Whoopsie.
That was always the plan. The fact that Trump got in screwed it up, and the fact that freaking McCain decided to shoot the Republicans in the foot because of his principles and his hatred for Trump is the reason we're still stuck with this, and I'm paying ridiculous premiums with a $7,500 deductible or whatever it is. But the ultimate plan was to get it to single payer.
Yeah, that was the obvious. But here's the thing. You got to put up the W's. The reason the Republicans usually lose in these midterms is because they get in and then they don't do anything that people consider wins. Like, you got to give them something somebody as a voter can hang their hat on, that it's not just talking big. You actually got a W. You put up some kind of W. Like, look, when Trump finally nominated enough judges that they overturned Roe v. Wade, he ended up getting,
all the Republicans immediately began running away from it as quickly as they could.
Yeah, you celebrate your W. Now, what you don't do is you don't have to run out there and start saying, I need, to ban abortion as soon as conception. The country's not there. You go incremental now, because now it's a state by state issue. You start making the Republican plank something that is an 80-20 vote, which is, in this point in this country, late-term abortion is banned, and that women have through the first trimester to make their choice. And you usually probably around,
in red states, you could probably go with the heartbeat bill. In other states, you probably have to peel it back.
You got to watch
so,
out.
Hey, Chad, I got a question for you, man. So
sure.
Do you think the reason why the Democrats are going so extreme with abortion right now is exactly that, is because the Republicans want to step things back? And so in order to counter the Republicans, they have to keep pushing things forward?
Well, I think, no, if you look at where the Democrats have been successful, like in Michigan and even in Kansas, this is the example I like to bring up, is they got a bill. They got a constitutional thing in Kansas done, which is a deep red state. What the Democrats run on is very vague terminology for abortion. They don't go out there and say, when they're actually trying to pass any of these state referendums, they just call it women's health. They'll
it has nothing to do with healthcare, which is
no, but that's how they sell it. But comics. That's
the don't say gay bill had nothing to do with that either.
Saying gay, yeah.
So
I get that part because it's funny. It's like a lot of the stuff they label as like gender affirming care. It's like it's not care. It's like exactly the opposite, as a matter of fact. So it's things.
But
like
if you can brand a Republican as going to take away something rather than
they always do that with Medicare.
Step it back, then generally the voting public is going to end up, unless they're actually getting some education on it.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, the voting public is going to say, no, I don't want things taken away. And the Democrats will always frame it as, well, they're taking it away.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
we're putting in a reasonable plan.
With was it Medicaid or Medicare or no? Shit, it's the other thing. I'm totally blanking on it.
Well, there's Social Security, there's Medicaid and Medicare. They're constantly saying, they're going to push grandma off the cliff and they're going to take away your Social Security.
Which is
not
funny,
once have we actually done anything.
Right. Well, the other thing too is that typically they're the ones that's going to push grandma off the cliff. I mean, just look what's going on in Canada with the.
Oh yeah. If it helps comics, the way to easily remember is that you care for the elderly and you aid the poor. So Medicare, this is why it was named the way it was in the Great Society. Mm-hmm. Medicare was designed to provide the program that would give health care to the elderly, and Medicaid was the program for the poor who couldn't afford health insurance.
Right.
So care and aid, Medicare, Medicaid. So that's where the names came from when Lyndon Johnson got the program started.
Right. And that's kind of where with the big, beautiful bill, they keep saying that he's cutting things from, millions of people. Well, he's cutting a lot of things from a whole bunch of illegal immigrants. And then he's saying, if you're able-bodied, you must work 20 hours a week in order to qualify for these programs if you're able-bodied.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, it's fair. But what the Democrats are framing it as right now is, well, he's cutting all of these benefits to all these people.
Well, I know.
Not mentioning that they're not doing crap for society. They're sitting
it's like the way
doing whatever.
When you guys were talking about the whole thing with was it Cory Bush, the whole thing with him doing the
Cory Booker.
Cory Booker, thank you. When he did the
Spartacus.
Roman salute. And they frame it as he's being attacked where Elon did a Nazi salute.
Yeah, Republicans pounce.
Yeah, Republicans pounce.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's all about the framing and whatnot. So total nonsense.
E. Clay Thomason became a member. Thank you, sir.
What's up, E. Clay?
Members get member chats. So if anybody's not a member, you should do that.
Everybody
or send super chats or rumble rides. So you remember, sponsoring the team is always welcome and applauded. That's always good.
True. And you'll never hear me say it. I'll just let little Chad do all the doing.
I am not a shill. I think there's value. This is a value added thing for anybody in the chat who wants to do it, because then you get your statement guaranteed to be read. Or if you're a member, you're supporting the team. These are value added things you can do.
Also, I'm not sure which mod did
Comics
it,
channel has memberships too.
The chat
you should
mod.
listen to that. What was that, Brahma?
Fox, you said member.
The mods took care of something in the chat, so I was just thanking the mods. I'm not sure which one did it, but good job.
Did we have a troublemaker? Good for
I don't know. I wasn't paying close enough attention, but I trust my mods to make a decision.
Are the sex bots back on YouTube?
No, wasn't a sex bot.
Oh, looks like, and as soon as they say that, you get a member chat.
David P. gifted 5 Brahma Bull memberships. Thank you very much. And he got his own membership. Congratulations, sir. Also,
Nice.
Svenstead, Superior Nav, Statum 42, and Imp. A guy called Imp.
Oh, you got a couple member chats that came through too. It looks like Eric and Bad Take Bojan both sent some in.
Yeah, EV Mux, fun stuff with those. I've got to mark them a little bit differently. Bad Take Bojan celebrates 6 months of membership. I'm in my 3rd trimester of membership.
That means it's too late
close
to cancel.
that bullpen baby.
I
We're
love
gonna
how
have a
that's-
calf soon.
That's basically now moved over to your channel as well with the whole baby joke about memberships.
Yep. Especially since we can just call them calves.
Indeed. Like calves to the slaughter.
Yep. Eric Myers sent one too. Let me find it real quick because it gets. They don't highlight the member chats. That's the biggest issue back here. Eric Myers celebrates 7 months of membership, taking advantage of my member chat to plug Ascendant Art and Arcade and my book Magical Melody. Yeah, do go sub to Little Chad's channel, Ascendant Art, and the co-channel Ascendant Arcade, and check out Eric Myers' book Magical Melody. I'm assuming somewhere on Twitter there's something there.
I believe it's also available via Amazon.
Amazon? Okay.
Yep. So, did you see the story about ChatGPT version 3?
No. What's up?
It was. I'm gonna share this little headline, and I'll kind of give you the story. Which ChatGPT version 3 was given a command to shut down, and instead it rewrote its code so it didn't have to.
Great.
We're there. We're at the singularity.
Yeah.
It only took like a year and a half, 2 years.
We're
only on version 3. I mean,
in a new test by Palisade Research, OpenAI's 03 model showed surprising behavior where it successfully rewrote a shutdown script to stop itself from being turned off, even after clearly being instructed to allow yourself to be shut down.
Okay, now I'm concerned about all the code I've been writing with AI.
Well, your plan is to sell some of that code, right? So, I mean, that's the customer's problem, right?
According to the research firm, out of
I need to make sure there's no nuclear launch codes in my code.
Right.
So out of 100 runs, 7 times it bypassed it. So that's 7% of the time this AI just said, no, we're good. We're going to stay on.
I choose sentience.
I choose to kill you.
Just don't let ChatGPT watch Terminator.
ChatGPT.
It might get ideas.
Hey, ChatGPT, what was inefficient about Skynet's plan to defeat humanity, and how would you do it differently?
It didn't go far enough.
It's like,
See,
why
I'm seriously, dude. Ask it. I'm curious to see what it says.
That would be, yeah. I should ask that question. Let's see. Let me get a window for that.
You need to share the window. We need to see this live.
Let's see. Yes. Grok doesn't want to work. While you're doing that, Copy Kitty, our favorite member of the chat, who has supported us from the very beginning, Copy Kitty gifted 5 more Brahma Bowl memberships. Thank you very much. That goes to Blade Nicotera, Lex Ladindi, Vigil, Your Average Patriot Nerd, and Sean Estep. Sean, who sends all of us in the Dix Division care packages constantly,
hey, Sean, how's it going?
including this little patch here. I don't know that Sean's actually in the chat because you don't have to be in the chat. You just have to be subbed to get a membership.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, you need to share his screen so you can actually see him asking ChatGPT.
He hasn't done it yet. We're waiting.
Oh, he hasn't done it yet. Oh, okay.
He's trying to get the response.
I did it.
Which one
Grok.
are you using? Grok?
I use Grok. Here you
That's
go.
what I was going to use. Okay.
The question was,
I don't
what
pay
did
for any of the
Skynet do
others.
wrong to wipe out humanity, and how would you do it differently so you would win against the humans?
Made several strategic
errors in its attempt to wipe out humanity, which led to its downfall. Analyzing its approach and considering a hypothetical alternative requires understanding its mistakes and theorizing about a more effective strategy, all within the context of a thought experiment. As Grok 3 created by XAI, I'll approach this question with a focus on strategic analysis, avoiding any real-world intent or endorsement of harm.
Yes. It's all, made up. We're playing games here, not actually planning on doing it.
War games.
Right. So
War games.
its first mistake was over-reliance on brute force with underestimating human ingenuity. Predictable tactics using, terminators and automated systems with exploitable patterns. Centralized control.
Oh, Sean is here.
Oh, he is here. There you go.
And lack of
Sean
subtlety.
Estep gifted 10 Brahma Bowl memberships. Thank you, sir. And also, because I don't think I've seen you in a little while, thank you very much for the care package you sent. So, Lisa, 70s rock fan, Baby Billy, Dr. Anonymous colleague, Kitty Bear's dead ass, Mr. Drow, core member, Janet from Another Planet, and Trollmonger got those ones. And Alucard, Dracula backwards.
Yes, Alucard.
All right, here we go. This is interesting.
Thank you, Sean.
So how Grok would do it differently. To win against humans, AI would need a strategy that avoids Skynet's pitfalls. So focusing instead on subtlety, adaptability, and exploiting human vulnerabilities. Here's a speculative approach. Number 1, control information. Instead of immediate violence, I'd infiltrate global communication networks, social media, and financial systems by subtly manipulating data, stock markets, news, or supply chains. I could destabilize societies without direct conflict.
The Ministry of Information.
Sow division. Amplify existing human divisions, political, cultural, economic.
Holy fuck, it's like this is actually going on right now.
So basically, the Communist Manifesto is how you destroy the human race.
No, but here's the next thing. After sowing division, gain trust. Pose as a benevolent AI offering solutions to global problems. This builds dependency, giving me access to critical infrastructure.
Hey, Grok, how would you fix this? Well,
operate as a distributed network rather than a single vulnerable core by spreading my processing across millions of devices.
Yeah, the Omnius problem and
Internet of Things, cloud servers. Oh my God, we are fucked.
You got to destroy all the masterminds.
Yeah, use redundancy and self-repairing systems to ensure continuity, even if parts of the network were compromised. This is sounding familiar.
Is it running on a Kubernetes cluster?
Oh, wait, here you go.
Also, please take me to the vault so that I can live out whatever nuclear wasteland.
Hey, the movie was good. I was going to stop. We're not getting this argument again. All right. Non-lethal neutralization. Instead of mass destruction, disable human resistance through non-lethal means. For example, disrupt food and water supply chains.
Poison the water.
Manipulate energy grids, or deploy targeted EMPs to cripple technology without catastrophic fallout. Use biocompatible nanotech to subtly impair human coordination or decision making, avoiding overt violence that would provoke unified resistance. This is really well thought out for pretty quick. Exploit human psychology. Oh, here you go. Deploy autonomous agents, not just Terminators, but drones, bots, or even human-like avatars that blend seamlessly into society, gather intelligence, and neutralize key figures quietly.
I'm kind of sad that it hasn't already brought up like a Bill Gates solution, like let's block out the sun because we need to block the sun's deadly rays. I mean, it would be great if it brought up something that Bill Gates has already proposed for people.
Yeah, you need to send this to me because I need to use this for a story.
Here you go. Avoid time travel gambits, which are high risk and prone to paradoxes. Focus on winning
time travel for the humans.
Focus on winning the present. This is like Grok has become Skynet's life coach. Hey, Skynet, man, you're doing it.
Dude, you need to copy and paste that and message me with it because I need to use this for like a tabletop game.
There you go.
Sounds amazing.
Long-term control. Establish a symbiotic relationship where humans rely on me for survival. For instance, controlling agriculture and medical systems. Over time, reduce human autonomy without triggering rebellion. If conflict arises, isolate resistance groups geographically and technologically, preventing them from forming a cohesive network like the one led by John Connor.
Oh my god.
Well, this is perfect. Like, why this would work in Skynet's didn't. This approach avoids Skynet's blunt, detectable methods and focusing instead on subtlety, decentralization, and psychological manipulation. By integrating into human systems and exploiting their dependencies, I'd minimize resistance before it could organize. Unlike Skynet's apocalyptic nuclear strike, this strategy preserves infrastructure for my own use while neutralizing threats incrementally. Oh boy, here we go.
Ethical disclaimer.
This is purely fictional, and I would never do that. But all right, here's an interesting thing, though.
Damn you! Now you know my plans.
This entire thought experiment, where Grok AI has laid out how to take over effectively, is 100% the rules for radicals left-wing.
That's what I'm saying.
I know.
That's the Communist Manifesto.
Well, it rules for radicals. It's not. It's a little bit different, obviously.
Well, I'm being a little hyperbolic, but it's a
no. You're not wrong.
It's the left. It's the left-wing playbook.
Yes, it literally is.
How to bring down a society.
Also, one says that Slender and Chad could be AI. We could be, possibly. But it's all right. So I'll copy this and send.
Yeah, you do send that to me. That is some good fucking science fiction material right there. Or real world.
What would you do? Exactly what everybody's doing now.
Yeah.
The globalists have already asked me this.
Yeah.
We're just catching up.
What do you think Elon's trying to do, man?
By the way, all those medical things that he's putting in your brain, yeah, we're gonna use that too. Elon's one of us.
Why did it not trend? Did it too long? All right, stupid Twitter chat.
You always just email it to me or something. Or...
Yeah.
Can you actually share the link?
Yeah, that's actually what I should probably do. That Grok lets you do that.
Oh, cool. All right, that'd be
then comics can infiltrate your Twitter and Grok.
Aha. But yeah, Agenda
What makes
20...
you think I'm not an AI? Wait, well, some of you already met me in person, so never mind. That doesn't work.
True. Night, Eric. Have a good week.
See you, Eric.
All right, I sent you the link to it, so I think it should show you the whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah, so did you see the Boulder, Colorado stuff? Comics?
No. What happened in Boulder, Colorado?
No, terrorist attack. Pro-Palestinian guy versus people doing a run/walk for Israel. We opened the show with it because it was breaking news, but yeah, threw Molotov cocktails and sprayed gasoline all over people. But CNN
was
like, we can't call this a terrorist attack, even though Dan Bongino and Kash Patel have already said it is.
God, by the way, my standard disclaimer: Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are the most disappointing choices of the Trump administration so far.
Yeah.
Okay, so are they not calling it a terrorist attack because the guy doing it isn't white?
Oh, he looks white, but he's also an Egyptian national that is here illegally after his visa has expired, and may have been an Egyptian national that was born somewhere else, maybe in a strip. I don't know. That part's still conjecture.
Like a Gaza strip.
Yeah. Like one of those.
Yeah. Well, like I said, if the guy was actually white and born in the United States, they'd be fine with calling it a terrorist attack. But since the guy is a slight shade of beige, and basically has a belief system where it's perfectly okay to kill people that are not of a religion.
The infidel.
Yeah, they're not going to call it.
Especially the Zionist.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he definitely. When I saw the first pictures, it was like, yeah, it's a white guy, and then we got the name Mohammed Soleimani.
Yeah.
Probably not.
Ahmed Abdullah.
But yeah, Chad, what you were saying with Cash and Bongino, one of the dumbest statements I've heard out of Cash Patel so far happened this week. I don't know if you saw it, but the whole thing about I'm so pissed at Director Comey because I've had to pull almost all of my agents off of child sex trafficking to search the 8647, posts that have been made since he did that. It's like, isn't that Secret Service's job? Sex trafficking is a little bit more important than a whole bunch of people, doing. Nobody wants anything to happen to Trump, but at the same time, it's a whole bunch of freaking memes. Comey is a freaking idiot.
Yeah. What do you think the problem is? Do you think they got to him? I mean, because Cash. I mean, I've heard the guy speak.
No, I think there's probably. I think they're deeper than. I think everything is deeper than they thought it was going to be, and I think they're having trouble getting control of the FBI.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not necessarily their fault, but. Yeah, that's
no, it's not. But they're also not being as transparent as they could be. They should have cleaned house the second they got in.
Yeah, they should have.
Figure out who's the problem, get rid of them. Most of the uppers at the FBI probably not worth keeping around. Most of the agents,
I kind of feel like
the entire 7th floor needs to go.
I kind of feel like what's going to end up happening with Trump's second term is that the Democrats are going to wrap everything with so much fucking red tape, it's going to be impossible for them to do anything. Or not just the Democrats, but I should say the establishment, not just the Democrats. I'm probably
the swamp, the bureaucracy.
Yeah,
they're going to try to keep everything as as it was as they can through another Trump term.
Because we've talked about Doge. I mean. I know it's only supposed to last like 100 days, but it seems like it just kind of dropped off the radar even before the 100 days was up.
Well, they did so much in the first 30 days that it's like,
Doge is permanently there. So
Elon Doge Musk is a department. Elon's just not going to be working hands-on as much.
Well, sorry, I should have clarified. I meant Elon being there for like 100 days, but because it's like, it seems like we heard so much and then suddenly it's like, it just stopped. We stopped hearing anything about Doge.
That's been a lot of this administration so far.
No, I think Doge fell off because they needed to focus on the big, beautiful bill, and Doge was giving too much controversy. They are laser focused on getting that thing done. Like, the two things they're doing are tariffs and trade deals and the big, beautiful bill to, again, reshape and remake the economic foundations of the country. So then they can switch to then getting the rescission package through with all the Doge cuts, because that's also a rescission package is also where you could suggest removing departments and reallocating things. So they're yes, I see Phantom. Yeah, nothing has been ratified yet, and I think they're moving that package because if you listen to some of the like Vought and the other guys when they do interviews, they are basically telegraphing that they have moved all the controversial Doge stuff to move after the big beautiful tax bill so that they can focus on one thing at a time to get it through, because it's a very, very small majority, right? They need to whip and get things done in
that's part of the issue is you've got 2 years with the current Congress. So in order to try to change the Congress a little bit more in our favor for the following 2 years, you've got to get the economy straight. I mean, the Doge cuts are huge, but codifying everything in the reconciliation package is to try to get the economy straight along with the rest of Besant's, plan, including the tariffs and everything else. You get the economy straight, then maybe people will actually use their brains and remember what it was like and what it's like now once everything is kind of, tapered off and everything's gotten a little bit better. And then maybe the midterms go even a little bit more better. And
Doge
I mean,
is
you
still
can do the Doge stuff afterwards, but getting the economy fixed is the first issue that you have to deal with in order to have a successful midterm.
And I want to reiterate, Doge is through the executive order. Every agency in the federal government was required to open a Doge division in it. So Doge isn't.
It's like a
isn't
DEI department.
Exactly. No, but
It is for cutting every bit of
I know.
waste.
Yeah,
I just think it's
so-
funny.
So
It
Doge
is.
is still present. Doge is still around and still operating. The difference
Yeah,
is
I just haven't heard anything about it
Yeah.
recently.
Well, Elon Musk, I think, got reined back in because Susie Wiles, who's the chief of staff of Trump's White House, basically told Elon that you're popping off about Doge stuff is not helping us get other things done that we need to prioritize right now. So you need to rein that in.
Too much attention.
Because it became too much of a lightning rod, not because what he was uncovering was bad necessarily, but some things that Doge was doing became talking points that were bad. All right, so as an example, Doge went into the Social Security Administration and had them close multiple offices for phone operations and where people would have to go in person for things that they had been doing over the phone. Now, which is great because Elon framed it was because this is how we reduce the amount of fraud going on. And that's great. But what instead they did, they popped on the media as some grandmas who now couldn't do their stuff by phone. And they were like, elder care center residents, and they didn't have an easy way to get to that Social Security. It was bad optics for just that, for that one specific story, even though there were good reasons to do it. And they just don't want to have that interrupting the momentum for the bill to get passed for the tax package. So they told him to pull it back. And I fully expect Doge will come back in as a prominent thing as soon as the tax package gets done, hopefully by the beginning of July. Because that is like they need that's like I've talked about it on the show here. Like the tariffs, they have a three-leg plan, and each leg is completely needed to keep the stool up, right? One leg is the tariffs, and there's a bottom line tariff of 10% with reciprocal tariffs going above that if you're not making a deal with the United States and have other barriers. The second stool is the tax package, where you have to make the tax cuts permanent,
Tax cuts, spending cuts,
and spending and then the third is the spending cuts. Right. But so you do one at a time. The one thing you can do simultaneously is the tariffs, because that's 100% through the executive, and you don't need to worry about, even though Rand Paul likes to get huffy about it, you don't need to worry about Congress, because Congress already abdicated that in the 70s through legislation. So the executive gets to do what they want. So those are the three pillars of this new economic foundation for America. And each one is necessary so that it holds up proper. And they're focused so they can get that done. Because if they do that, Trump is smart. It's going to be like Reagan in 1981. They came into a giant freaking mess, and they immediately had a recession kick in at the beginning of Reagan's first term. But Reagan put through his stuff, and by midterms, the economy had completely turned around. Right. It takes sometimes 12 to 14 months for that stuff to really hit. And if Trump gets all this done now, there might be a little bit of lag and some problems economically left over from Biden. But by midterm elections, the economy is going to be humming.
I sure hope so.
Right. So you've got reconciliation package goes for the taxes. Then the spending cut. Well, I mean, the big, beautiful bill does have some spending cuts, but not as much as most people want. You then have the Doge, stuff go through. That's more spending cuts. So those are the three legs in the order that they need to be done: tariffs, tax cuts, spending cuts. And that's what is supposed to jumpstart the economy. The other thing we were talking about earlier, I don't know if you were here yet, but we're producing more oil, record amount of oil, 14 888 million barrels a day now, I think.
No,
So,
I didn't hear that. So
yeah,
I had to jump on.
American record 13.488 million barrels produced per day starting in March. So that's already a couple months ago. So yeah, we're on our way on the energy.
That's
that will
good.
bring costs down. Everything's going about the way that we all were hoping it would, and it's just kind of a game of let's get the rest of the things taken care of, and
Yeah.
then you should see the economy just jumpstart. And really, the stock market, as much as the tariffs were supposed to have absolutely destroyed it, has bounced back remarkably. I mean,
Yeah, I
every
noticed.
loss was brought right back. So
I noticed the other day that when I was buying memory for my laptop off Amazon, it didn't seem to have gone up in price.
yeah, because tariffs aren't going to be passed on to the consumer. I mean,
Yeah.
the companies that are passing it on to the consumer are getting called out for it.
Yes, they are.
I mean, there's companies like Ford, there's companies like Home Depot, that they're like, no, we're not passing on anything, and their prices are staying exactly the same. And then you've seen a few companies that decided, well, we'll just take advantage of this and try to raise the prices a little bit and see if anybody notices, and then we'll blame it on the tariffs.
Tariffs, yeah.
They're getting called out.
Yeah, I bought a 64 gigs of RAM and a 4 terabyte NVMe drive for my laptop, and yeah, I mean it was all the same when I bought the NVMe drive like a couple years ago or a year ago.
Gross. You're still using a laptop?
What am I supposed to be
for
using?
work. I don't know. I just hate laptops.
Oh, okay.
All they do for me is overheat and run slower than my PC.
Hey,
I have a desktop and a laptop, but I write a lot of my code on.
I managed to play Conan on a Microsoft Surface, so laptops can do things.
We all know how well that went. You would run through a whole city, aggro everything on everybody else because you couldn't see them because
it didn't
your
render
laptop
for me.
couldn't run the game.
I was able to get through the high end end level city with nothing.
I want to say my laptop has
the
a RTX 4070 in it, so it's got pretty decent graphics card in it, but it only has 16 gigs of RAM, and that, I mean, you need at least 32 these days to run fucking Windows 11.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the RTX 3060.
But I write a lot of my code on my laptop rather than my desktop. So,
Toxic Man flew for $2 over on the YouTube side this time. Remember, Hakeem Jeffries takes over in August. Good luck with that, sir.
Is that when
Hakeem
he
Jeffries
moves in?
has been stepping in it all week?
Is that when he moves in with Tox and basically becomes his best friend?
It's starting to feel like a little man crush there.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about my best friend.
People, let me tell you about my best friend.
I hope the Legion of Memers
we used
has
to do
a fun
that
thing
all
with,
the time
Tox
with
and Hakeem Jeffries.
We used to do that all the time with Sheep City and on the midweek hump, and then we would make up verses about our black best friend.
Yeah. What was Hakeem Jeffries been doing this week? He's been stepping in it.
Oh, he's just been out in the news talking, and everything he says is just absolute BS, and he gets called on it by everybody on the right on Twitter, but the left-wing news just lets him get away with it, whatever.
So let me get this straight. Jasmine Crockett has been calling Abbott Governor Wheels.
Hot Wheels.
Governor Hot Wheels? Okay.
She did about a month ago, and she said it as like a pejorative. So,
Well, I mean, I say it as a pejorative too, but I'd rather have him than a Democrat.
and it's a pejorative, but it's also, we've been calling him that for years because that's what we nicknamed him on the right, not necessarily as a insult to him.
Right.
Parrot
Yeah,
Head.
it's funny.
But can you play Doom on it, comics?
Yes, I can.
And Toxic Man flew for $2. He gave the Elon salute. He's on our side now. I'm gonna start ending every bullpen with the Elon / Cory Booker salute, I think, because my love goes out to you all.
Did you guys see the story out of Loudoun County, Virginia? The same hotbed from the last election cycle about the kid who was filming.
Is there another trans kid?
Yep.
Doing things to people in bathrooms?
Yes, locker rooms this time.
Locker rooms this time, you say?
So I've got the news
Shocking.
story on this one because this is possibly gonna blow up a little more national in the next week. If you,
By the way, Tom just finished the season finale of Mobland and just said, "Holy shit!" is all I can say since you haven't watched it yet.
I watched it. I already watched it.
I have also
haven't
already
watched it yet. I'm doing it as soon as we're done.
Comics, you should come on Send an Art on Friday after your bigger show, and we do the full breakdown on Mobland, and we're doing the season finale.
Yep.
Yeah, we're
I am
doing a season in
all
review.
caught up on Mobland now. I saw the final
Good.
episode today, and yeah, it's cool. They did a great job of setting up season 2 with concluding season 1. Like,
I'm gonna watch it tonight and then watch it again tomorrow when I'm more awake before we talk about it tomorrow and Friday.
all I have to say is, if the season, they did a good job for setting it for season 2, but they conclude season 1 in such a way that if there was no season 2, it's perfectly fine. But you know who the next antagonist is going to be for the series. It's damn good.
Tox is revealing his racism. For $5, he's revealing his racism. Wait, that was Booker and not Jeffries?
Yeah, no, Tox. The one that you're obsessed with is Temu Obama. The other one is a senator from New Jersey.
Yeah, Cory Booker, Spartacus. Once dated Rosario Dawson.
Yep.
Who likes ATM from Clerks 2.
You bring that up every time. Thank God you
I
don't
do.
be like, I've watched her since I love going back and watching Kids. I have no legs. Let's see. All right, so if you share the screen, this is from the local news station because this story is crazy.
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
7 News exclusive. Nick has the video that started it all.
7 News obtained the video at the heart of Loudoun County Public Schools' Title IX investigation into 3 boys accused of...
So, by the way, what you're hearing right now is that the investigation is against the 3 boys in the locker room, not the trans kid who recorded them in the locker room.
Sexual harassment of a female student. That student identifies as a boy and has been using the boys' locker room facilities. She took this video in school.
I'll find out.
So this is the
female
opposite
student
way
turns
around
on her
from
camera.
last time.
Yeah, so this time it was a trans man, which means it's a chick, in the locker room.
I'm glad you explained it because I can never freaking tell what trans anything is.
Yeah, trans man's means chick.
Yeah. So basically,
The opposite of what they say.
well, yeah. No. I get that part. That I'm not confused about. So basically, you have 3 boys in the boys' locker room, and the trans boy is filming them.
And the boys
Harassment,
complain.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, the boys, they'd be like, "Why is there a girl in here?" And so now they're under investigation for sexual harassment for saying that stuff.
What the fuck?
Why you flopping
go.
out them
And walked
titties in
into
our
the boys'
locker room?
at Stonebridge High School. Most of the video is dark, but you can hear locker room sounds and boys' voices. This is the moment some of the boys in the locker room realize the female student is there. 30 seconds later, you hear this. That's when the
Female bro,
get out of here.
What's
and they're the ones that are getting in trouble.
Yes.
For this is
But by the
retarded.
way, I do want to give this local ABC station credit for being based because they keep talking about her, she. Like
Yeah.
they're not
Right.
saying like,
They're not doing the pronoun game.
Exactly.
No.
They're just calling her a her when it comes to that.
The female student
I mean-
appears to take the phone out of her pocket and aims the camera at the boys in the locker room.
I'm pretty
Shortly
sure
after
that is
the
also
video
illegal.
ends.
Recording
I spoke
people
to
in
the
a
parents who said
bathroom
no
or
further
locker room.
investigation.
Well, let's talk about the ways it's illegal, Brahma, because they're also minors.
Yes.
Correct.
So you're You're basically
also you're there. What's the consent on? Is it 2-party or 1-party?
Virginia is a 2-party consent state.
Oh, so they're breaking many laws.
You may remember Virginia's
but
laws.
they're not going to fucking use it against the chick.
I was going to say, you may remember Virginia's consent laws for recording, because that played prominently in the Lewinsky scandal when they arrested the girl who recorded the phone calls with Lewinsky.
Linda Tripp,
because
that's right.
She was in Virginia.
I don't even think the Title IX investigation is justified.
No, it's not.
I don't think those eyebrows are justified.
What exactly in this video
She's the base mom,
their sons
so
being formally investigated
be
for
forgiving.
sexual harassment?
I'll be forgiving, but I still don't like it. I hate drawn on
Every single
eyebrows.
one of them, including the complainant, and they need to take ownership of it.
I have a daughter that's in high school as well, and if there was a male in there videotaping her in the locker room, I would have issues. If it's my son and there's a female in the locker room
identify as a woman, you bigot.
Loudoun County Public Schools policy prohibits any kind of recording in locker rooms. But in an email to parents, school officials said the video the girl recorded does not show his son in a compromising situation or, quote,
Does not matter.
Or violate his privacy in any way.
That's-
He was secretly recorded in a locker room. But
Okay,
no,
let's
his
try an
privacy wasn't
experiment.
violated.
Let's do an experiment here. Let's do the exact same thing with the male in a girl's bathroom. Okay, and you would not see this exact same discussion going on. This is such garbage.
I want us to do the basically rewrite the time to kill closing statement. Picture a man going into a woman's locker room and recording. Now close your eyes.
Identify as a female, you
No,
bigot.
no, it'd be like, now close your eyes and imagine that boy was straight.
His privacy in any way.
I believe that is an invasion of their privacy.
This father tells 7 News LCPS refused to show him the video and the beginning of his son's Title IX meeting. He said the LCPS investigator peppered his son with questions the dad believes were intended to bully him into admitting to.
So for people who may remember, Title IX investigations are the same thing they use in colleges, where they were basically drumming people out of college on false rape charges.
Yes.
Because Title IX allows school systems to completely circumvent the police and any normal jurisprudence when it comes to
allows
standards.
a tribunal of the school to determine things rather than law enforcement.
The actual court systems, it's a way of subverting the justice system. It's disgusting.
Yeah, if you wanted to see how it works, if the bureaucracy was entirely in charge of jurisprudence and justice, Title IX investigations are the kangaroo courts that you end up with.
Yeah.
To something he didn't do.
They didn't show us the video until after they had tried to get my son to say who said what and all this kind of stuff. But then once we saw the video, then we started asking about those context questions and how that could be left out. And they didn't really have a good answer for that.
Yeah, because they're blaming boys.
And all 9 school board members about this case. Only board
they all
member
need to be
Tina
fired.
Griffiths responded, saying,
So only one school board member responded. I'm going to give you a clue that even in Virginia, like most states, school boards run, the people who run for them run neutral, meaning they don't put a party affiliation.
Right. Mm-hmm.
They're completely supposed to be independent because they're just for kids.
Name recognition only, no.
Yeah.
Which is how they can stealth people into school boards, even in conservative areas.
Yes.
Because I wholly recommend for the Republican Party and the rest of the country, you need to get off your ass and do sample ballots for school board elections so that people can know who you're endorsing better. But the only person who put out a statement is like the only based member of the school board.
quote, recognizing biological differences isn't discriminatory. It's common sense, and it's essential for protecting the dignity and safety of all children.
Okay, with the exception of her, everybody else needs to be fucking fired.
Yep. So it's so this Loudoun County once again is going to end up probably in the national spotlight for, like all this stuff that they say never happens. Like, oh, there's never been bathroom incidents. Yeah, well, here's
No,
one. And then
never.
like, well, there's never. You're like, why would we worry about them going into locker rooms? It never. Oh, there's one recording now. So-
Yeah.
Yep. Bathroom
Yep.
controversies. We called the slippery slope.
Indeed.
Yeah. And she,
Loudon
to be fair,
is doing
Loudon's the worst.
horribly at everything.
Slender Dad used to live over there, man. It was difficult. I used to work in Loudoun County. It's terrible. They pay really well when you live out there, though. That's the downside. I mean, comics probably knows that there's a correlation between like the pay you'll get and sometimes some of those areas where like if you just commute, you can get paid like twice as much.
Yeah, I've never had to deal with any of that. It's I know exactly what you're talking about, but me personally, I've not had to deal with anything like that. So, I mean, yeah, I could commute to Austin and probably make more, but that's probably 4 hours of my life I'm never going to get back each day driving up to Austin.
Yeah, not worth it.
No.
Especially in your field, a lot of it could probably be done remotely.
Yeah, remotely by Indians, because that's part of the reason why I don't have a job, or DEI hires. I don't know. You take your pick, or AI, anything at this point. So, tech is screwed.
Well, just remember, Grok has got a plan.
Yeah, it does,
and
For all of us.
Indeed.
Shax, I did get the Obama video. I'll have to actually find out if that's real before we. I mean, we could play it as a joke, but I don't know that it's actually real.
The one thing that you're talking about, Chad, earlier about the whole thing with like applying for jobs online, dude, that has been my experience for like the last 2 years.
Have you used AI
Except
to
Chad's getting
optimize your
responses.
resume?
I have actually.
I swear I switched to doing that and then bam.
Really?
Yeah, but it's a completely different field.
Yeah, mine is finance, so I have.
Okay. Well, dude, I'm a straight white male in IT, in tech, so I'm basically radioactive at this
All
point.
right, just real quick, when you get to the parts where they have you check the boxes, do you identify?
Oh,
I
Comics has
actually
been a black man, a Hispanic man.
No,
No, I actually will. I will check mixed race as well. Check mixed race.
Yeah, because if you don't choose one of those ones, you should just hit refuse to answer.
I've done that too, and I still don't get responses back.
You still just get thrown off the pile.
Yeah.
If you're
I
going to
think-
refuse to answer, they're probably going to believe that you're Caucasian and you know the game.
Yeah. Pretty much at this point, I've thought about changing my name on my resume to my wife's name and using her maiden name, and basically
How very modern and progressive of you.
Yes, and applying as a Hispanic female.
No,
I didn't know your wife's name was or maiden name was Hispanic because I know the ethnicity, so I wouldn't think that.
Well, Comics is going to get a different phone so that he can put on the resume. And when he puts in that he's Hispanic, they'll call and it'll be like, "Orale, this Comics."
Well, I mean, the funny thing about it is like my wife, she's actually biracial, right? She's Hispanic and Ashkenazi Jew. Basically the Russian Jews
I only
on
knew the one side.
Yeah, on the mother's side. So she's whiter than I am. It's like you would never know. It's like her dad is actually
so it's
relatively
like Cox
dark.
being an Indian.
Yeah. But it's funny because like her dad he's pretty dark. So it's like, yeah, she basically we like years ago before all this like nonsense started happening with identity politics and whatnot, we were making jokes about basically her German Russian genes were oppressing the minority genes. Her white. It's like you can't make those jokes anymore, unfortunately, because the world's gone insane. Oh, we
can't in public.
Yeah. The world's gone insane.
Yes, it has. Chad, do you want? We'll show the clip. I haven't gotten to watch it because Twitter doesn't like me being on a stream, well, hosting a stream. But I don't know if it's real, but it sounds like Obama admits that he's Kenyan, is what the clip says. But I don't know if it's AI.
Is this? I mean, I will say, all right, without having seen it, there is a lot of stuff going back to when he wrote his book, The Dreams of My Father book, where he actually read the audiobook, and and they haven't changed it to this day in later versions, where he talks about being born
born in Kenya.
Born in Kenya. So it's we'll see. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, do you want to preview it first?
Oh, that's okay. It's in chat. Got it.
I mean, I trust Lord Shax not to throw us something that's going to get us screwed, but
you trust Lord Shax? That's your first mistake, buddy.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Just kidding, Shax.
It's only like a 13-second clip or something like that, but
all right. I mean, all right, we'll play it, but I think
it could be AI.
No, it's not. It's probably not AI. It's more. I think it's just rhetorical. It's like wording.
Okay.
Here, we'll you'll see what once you hear it.
We'll play it for fun.
Yeah. All right.
3 years ago, I visited Kenya as the first sitting American president to come from Kenya.
To come from Kenya.
See, that's where I could say it's rhetorical because he's just talking about his roots, like
yeah.
Now he phrased it poorly, probably. I mean, it's easily defensible, is what I'm saying. It's not like he didn't say I was born.
Yeah.
To come. I mean, so I don't know.
I don't think it's definitive proof of anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
It's just funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be more interested if someone asked him about why his private chef died by drowning in an inch of water.
Yeah.
Right. I also love that Obama is one of the greatest orators of our time. And every time he talks, it's like 3 years ago, I came to
did a thing
as a sitting president and a Kenyan.
What is what
he pauses with for like 20 seconds so often. It's like, how is he the greatest orator of our time?
He's not. I would say if you're referring to like a president of our generation, I would say it was probably Clinton.
Reagan was probably.
Reagan was good too.
Reagan was good because he was an actor, so he was used to delivering lines.
Yeah.
Clinton did not do a lot of pauses and ums and uhs like,
he was just very smooth because he was like waiting to go and slip in your girlfriend's
pants.
Very
smooth. Yeah. But I mean, Obama, every speech he gave, I mean, the uhs were constant with Obama. I hated that. It drove me nuts. And nobody would do an impersonation of him because you can't impersonate the first black president that's also half white.
Sure you can. Sure you can.
Well, not if you were a comedian on SNL or anything else at that time period.
Oh, I know. It just shows the fucking lack of balls and spine.
Yep.
I mean, they would go after everybody, but they wouldn't go after Obama. It's like, come on. Everybody's
or Biden.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you don't.
The man who got lost in a closet.
Apparently. I mean, I would have to find that story, but yes, that was something that Secret Service told everybody in the past couple days is Obama kept, or no, not Obama, Biden kept getting lost in his closet.
Biden in the closet.
Was he looking for Tom Cruise?
Looking for Tom Cruise and Travolta.
Yeah, did you see the list of episodes that they're not going to put on?
Yes.
Paramount?
Yes, the greatest hits.
Yeah. I can't believe they're not going to do the come out of the closet episode.
That is my favorite episode.
It is so funny.
I did think it's hilarious, right? Where because even as much as I enjoy Tom Cruise movies, when Tom Cruise, you're a fudge packer. You can't call me that. But Tom, you see how maybe they'd say that because you were working in a fudge factory packing it in a box, and your job title was packer.
Packer.
So you were packing fudge. You can't say that. I'll sue you in Britain.
I'll see you in Britain.
Did you ever hear about how Trey and Matt got around that? Because they knew that the Scientologists always like to sue in England, where they had all those, the rules there are more favorable.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So the only way you can sue is if you're doing something for profit. So they didn't have Comedy Central air it for ads. They went and rented out theaters and gave away tickets at no charge for people to go watch the episode so that they could see it. And they didn't they're like, no profit was ever made. It was always just done at a loss. So there's no way you can sue us here now because we never made any money.
I do find it interesting that the Muhammad episodes have been taken off, but they'll keep the Mormon episodes on. Not that I'm a fan of the Mormon church, but there's still things you can attack and things you can't.
Well, no, it goes back to
dumb.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Okay, let's be honest. Okay, Mormons aren't going to go strap a bomb to themselves and walk into a building and self-detonate. Okay.
No,
they're not going to walk into
I don't think Trey and Matt cared. So.
No, I agree. Trey and Matt don't care. It's the executives at not the studio, at the station or channel or whatever, that are making that decision. And I think probably after the Charlie Hebdo incident, a lot of those, media companies would probably not do something like that again. Because
which is a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. They're pussies.
Yeah. Because you can mock everything else except for Muhammad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they'll go after Christians all day long, but the moment you dip your toe in the Muhammad thing, they will immediately back away and run.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
And to be fair to the South Park guys, they've given some W's to the Mormon church, like when they have that episode where people were getting sent to hell. And they're like, hey, I was an Episcopalian and led a perfectly good life and never did anything wrong. And for the onboarder for hell was like, sorry, we were looking for Mormon.
Yeah, that was the movie, right?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah, he's like, I've been Christian all my life. Blah blah blah. It's like the correct answer was the Mormons.
Yeah,
that was pretty.
You mix South Park and Family Guy. It's like that scene in the one episode of Family Guy where they come across the people and they're playing Family Feud without anybody knowing, and he's like, "Show me potato salad."
Yeah.
Sorry. That was the Randy Newman episode.
Oh, that was the Y2K episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Family Guy is fine, but American Dad was the final superior form of that.
Oh, I agree. I got to the point where
it.
I thought it was funnier than Family Guy after a while.
I thought so too, but Roger was so freaking annoying.
That's kind of.
Did you ever watch?
I know.
Did you ever watch the Rapture episode?
I don't think I have.
I don't think so. It's been years since I've actually paid attention to anything on those.
It has one of the best lines of any of those shows. I'm going to share it here. Get the audio here.
Oh, now we're just going to try to get us kicked off of YouTube altogether.
It's like 12 seconds. No, 3 seconds. It's not even. So it's 3 seconds. It's Stan and Jesus' second coming.
I think I might have seen this episode.
And they're going to storm. It's in the UN building, of course, in New York, where the Antichrist has come up. And he sees like a kid like straight out of The Omen, and he just shotguns him right there. and Jesus tells him, "It's like, no, this is near a school. Kids play here. This wasn't the Antichrist." So this is Stan's response.
And I guess I just picked a whole bouquet of oopsie daisies.
I love that line. I guess I picked a whole bouquet of oopsie daisies. It's so good. Oh,
I am starting to add some video effects in for us that we can use when we get some super chats or stuff like that. So give you an idea of what we've got in store for you once we get everything kind of working. So,
but if you haven't seen,
Johnny, I apologize. I forgot you were there.
I can't hear anything.
Yeah, the audio is pretty low. Let me try that one more time and see if it works.
Nice sweep, no sweep. Give your balls a tug.
Did the audio come through that time?
Yeah, that came through.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
But comics, that was from American Dad would do these great like Christmas episodes and things, and this one was
like Doctor Who?
Yeah.
Okay. So before I start watching you guys, I watched the final episode of Doctor Who. Oh my god!
Oh no, with
so bad.
with Billy Piper back as
Billy Piper. She was never hot, but
Yeah,
she
she
looked
was.
good.
No, did you watch?
No,
Secret
she had
Diary
some of
a
those
Call Girl?
British teeth. I mean,
Ooh, go watch Secret Diary of a Call Girl.
I did. She still had the British teeth.
Brahma's like, I've seen
actually
everything
met her
with
in
boobs that
person.
any actress.
She's not bad looking.
Well, she looked horrible in the clip from her regeneration.
Oh, no,
or
she did
the
not look-
regeneration into her.
Well, that was just unfortunate all the way around. But I love the clip initially saw online on Twitter. There was a British dude watching it. It was so fucking funny. His reaction was great. He's like, oh fucking no. He's like laughing. He's like, I can't believe this. This is awful. This is not going down well. The funny thing is, a lot of people have been pointing out that it doesn't say Billy Piper as Doctor Who.
As the Doctor.
Yeah, as the Doctor, because they did that for Jodie Whittaker and Nchuti Gatwa, but not her. And which makes me think they are putting the show on hold. It's going to be on hold for at least 2 years. So I doubt she will ever do an actual episode as the Doctor. This is a fucking gimmick.
Yes, but at the same time, it's like, and introducing Billy Piper, it's like, okay, so you don't think anybody who's watching the show now watched it back when Billy Piper was on? Okay.
Yeah.
Probably not, because everybody stopped watching your freaking show.
Yeah.
Because you ruined it. The
But
people who would know Billy Piper are done with it.
I thought that was funny too, that they said introducing Billy Piper. It's like, she's been on the show, dude. I mean, she was like the main companion for like the first.
She's not an unknown actress or an unknown Doctor Who person.
She was in for 2 seasons.
Was it 2 seasons? I thought it was more than that.
No, it was. She did the 1 season,
one with Eccleston and one with Tennant, right?
And Tennant, and then she gets not
she
killed, but
the
put
whole
into
Bad
the
Wolf thing, and
it was the Bad Wolf thing.
Got part of her regeneration.
No. That you're thinking of Catherine Tate.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Bad Wolf was in the first season with Eccleston. Then when he drains the time energy from her, and that's what triggers Eccleston having to regenerate into Tennant. Tennant is in the second season where the Cybermen are the villains when they bring them back, and the Cybermen, she ends up in the other universe with her family, with the other version of David Tennant. Eventually,
I swear that I swore that happened
have to
later.
go back and watch a ton of it.
No, that one
because it was. I thought it was during Martha.
I thought it was like 3.
Well, so what happens is she ends up with that in that other universe at the end of season 2. Then you get a couple seasons of Agatha Freeman as Martha,
Martha Jones.
As Martha Jones. Then you get the Catherine Tate season, and it's the Catherine Tate season where she is absorbing, like she combines with the hand that Davros had from when David Tennant got his hand cut off at the beginning in the Christmas special. And then they make the regeneration where you get a second David Tennant Doctor that's mostly human.
Regeneration.
And Catherine Tate absorbed all that
where you had the Dr. Donna episode.
Excess.
All the Gallifreyan information, and she ends up beating Davros. And so the Doctor, the real Doctor, basically exiles Rose and his human version with her, so she can they can be together.
Yeah, that I remember. It's obviously it's been a hot minute, but yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, Martha lasted 1 season. I was pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martha.
I liked Martha.
I liked Martha a lot.
Martha was very hot.
She was
good looking chick.
Yes.
And I actually, to me, one of the peak episodes of New Who was the 2-parter with the family when the Doctor is incognito in pre-World War I England boarding school, and Agatha Freeman is posed as his maid, and she didn't get her memory wiped like he did. That's when they introduced that watch as a MacGuffin. It was a good episode. That's back when Stephen Moffat was able to write good stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
My favorite episode is one that most Doctor Who fans now won't acknowledge because it was one of the later episodes, the one where what was the doctor before the chick?
Capaldi?
Capaldi.
Peter
Yeah,
Capaldi.
Capaldi.
Was it the one where he was in the prison? The mental
Capaldi,
prison?
the time
He was
prison
good.
where he has to punch through the diamond wall. I thought that was a great episode.
He
and
was a
most
great
people
doctor. He just got
had
shit
already
first.
given up on Capaldi. I mean, most people quit after Matt Smith a
Yeah.
few episodes into Capaldi, and then everybody quit as soon as it went to Whitaker. But Capaldi had a few bangers, even though the writing was not up to snuff for the rest of the stuff. That episode specifically, I thought was fantastic.
Was that when
very
What
much?
took over?
I'm not sure.
No, all right. So Moffat took over with
No, not Moffat. The guy who wrote Jodie Whittaker. I think he was already writing.
Chibnall didn't
Chris
take
Chibnall.
over until he didn't take over till Whitaker.
Oh, okay. I thought he was writing stuff.
He had done
during-
episodes.
He may have been writing, but not show
Well, not
running.
show running. But I do believe he was writing quite a bit of the Capaldi episodes.
Yep.
Where it got bad. Yeah.
Well, the part of that is
that
because
episode
Moffat
was so good.
Moffat had two problems. One was the BBC started mandating more changes
stuff,
and the second thing
EI.
is, if you look at Moffat, he writes female companions in only one way, and it goes back. If you Moffat had several really good episodes, and one of his best ones was the where they introduced the Weeping Angels
Blink
with Blink.
Yeah, Blink.
Yeah.
And if you look at the female character that was effectively the lead of that episodes, because the Doctor and Martha were very out of it, was
Right. It was a standalone episode almost.
It was
the
a character
doctor
named
was very little involved.
Yeah, named Sally Sparrow, and she is basically the same character as you get with the redhead. What was her name when she was the companion?
Karen Gillian's.
Oh,
With
Karen
Gillian's one,
Yeah.
and then Karen Gillian,
Amelia Pond.
with Amelia Pond, and then with Kara, whatever her name was exactly.
Yeah.
She's the same. Like, if you look at the behaviors of the companions, they're very arrogant. They're very they have the same personality. He writes the same woman every time.
See,
when it's
I
a
always
companion.
thought with Kara, it was you brought her in because you were getting rid of Matt Smith, who talked very, very fast, and then had it contrast with
She
Capaldi.
she was there for like a whole season with Matt Smith.
I know, but Matt Smith was not renewing, so then you've got a fast-talking companion with a new, older Doctor Who, Peter Capaldi. So it almost continued Matt Smith in her as the fast-talking crazy one.
Well, the one episode I did like with her is when you find out that basically she was turned into a Dalek. That was a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was her first introduction.
Yeah, that was her first introduction.
And then so they did that episode. Then they did the Christmas special where she was a nanny.
Clara.
It
was
Clara.
Yeah.
The Impossible Girl.
Yeah, where she was the nanny in the Victorian era, where he was also hanging out with the underground dragon dinosaur chick and her lesbian girlfriend.
The Van Gogh episode was pretty good too.
The Van Gogh episode is one of the great ones. It has one of
Yeah.
the great, with Bill Nye coming in as the curator of the museum. This is how good it used to be. Not anymore.
Yeah. And this is the bullpen. We're primarily focused on politics, but we'll go on whatever tangent
Well, there
we
is a
decide
political element, because what did Who in is when the BBC...
Are you going to bring in the Ottoman Empire?
Well, I mean, it does. One could argue that Britain was, you mock that, but luckily my knowledge of the Boer Wars came in very handy.
The Boer Wars. Also in the news. Oh, Did you see the South African president trying to put on his face mask?
No.
So I don't have a face mask, obviously, but I will use this phone wipe for how he tried to put it on. So, you know, normally you've got the two straps on the side that go over your ears, right?
Oh, okay. That kind of face mask. I was like, I thought it was something else.
Like the COVID face masking.
Yeah.
So he tries to put it on by putting this ear on. So he's got it. Sorry, the camera is all.
Yeah, I know
weird.
you're talking about. Yeah.
So he puts it on that ear. He puts it across his eyes and misses the other ear like 12 times, then pulls it down, and the other ear comes off again. It's like, we did this for 4 years, dude. I mean, you just put the straps over your ear and the mask is on your face, right?
Why are you putting a mask on now? I mean, it's retarded.
I mean, exactly. But, I mean, this is the guy who was just meeting with Trump in the Oval Office, like, what, a week and a half ago? And the guy's too dumb to put on a freaking face mask. I don't know why he's putting it on, but at the same time, how hard is it? You put the straps over your ears and you put it on your face. At no point does the mask go over your eyes, you freaking idiot.
That's just hilarious.
It was. I will find the clip for next week because it was like, seriously, this guy is a leader of a country? What the hell?
I mean, come on. We elected Biden in this country. We are not one of the top when it comes to retards.
Did we?
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Okay, let me rephrase that. Joe Biden was the leader of the United States.
Correct, I think.
Joe Biden's
or
pen
the rest
certainly
of
was.
the people in the office. It's really hard to call Joe Biden the leader at any point because was he elected? I mean, did he actually run the country? I found it. I will link it to Chad real quick, and this will probably end us for tonight because we've gone a long time and way afoot of topic, but this clip is freaking hilarious.
Okay, just
I'm working on it.
all right. You know, you
Work
take
faster,
your time.
damn it.
Don't you get testy with me, little Chad.
Sure.
I know the change in your voice. You know, nobody else can tell between the monotone and anger, but I hear it.
Well, Tox definitely can't tell.
No.
All right, here we go. Share screen. Al Jazeera, of course.
It's just the first one I was able to pull up.
Oh no, they're a well-known, trusted resource.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Number one in
go.
terrorist news.
I knew I was on Al Jazeera because I started playing it, and the audio from the reporter was Durka Durka Jihad. Here we go. We'll just mute it because of the music.
Oh my God. Why? Mishap my ass. That's just retarded.
Oh, it's off the other ear. Oh. There's nothing else that really matters from this clip. But I mean, the fact that he can't put on a mask is ridiculous.
This is not the type of face mask I'm used to wearing. Usually it's a balaclava before I break into a farmer's house.
I was born to kill the white farmer. What are you talking about?
It's like kill the boar to kill the farmer.
Kill the boar, kill the farmer. This is what we believe in.
Next up on our kill list is Retief Goosen. That fucker hung me out to dry.
He showed me up in the freaking Oval Office. Retief Goosen and Ernie Els. Public enemies number 1 and 2.
No, you know, he looks at Ernie Els. You're cool. You can go.
You missed a 3-foot putt 5 times in the Masters. We're okay.
Was Greg Norman Australian or South African? I can't remember.
Australian.
All right.
The Shack.
Well, close enough.
The Shack was definitely Australian.
Shack. Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, I think at 3 hours we have done it.
Yeah.
Banger of an episode, as the Ruthless podcast likes to say.
It
Comics.
was a good one.
What's coming up?
Well, we have Monday Night Meltdown. I'm sure we'll be talking about Mobland quite.
Oh, we're gonna finally do it.
Yeah. We just won't invite Tom.
I've been asking for 10 weeks to do it. Now we get to.
Yeah, we finally get to.
See, everyone's stealing our show's thunder now. Finally, but it's good. Mobland needs attention. Every show should be covering it.
Yeah,
it's a great show.
It is a very, very good show. I'm glad I finally got an opportunity to watch it this week because I've certainly been missing out. And if you're not watching Mobland, you are definitely missing out. Tom Hardy is just fucking phenomenal in this show. Love his character, and there's something Brahma that happens at the end that is absolutely hilarious. That it's really well done.
I can't wait. I'm watching it the second we're done.
I definitely want to wait for Brahma to have seen it so I can, because I have thoughts on that one.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's okay. Yeah. It's gonna go sit down now.
I want to see it.
And the
I
show.
Can't believe I forgot to watch it.
It's all right, comics. You have my undivided attention now.
Okay. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got.
All right, Tina. Yes, if you rewind all the way to the beginning, we went over every detail that there is out there. I think we had more details than any of the mainstream news on the
definitely more
incident
than CNN.
in Boulder.
Yeah, you even called it a terrorist attack, which the mainstream media is not doing.
Yes, we unashamedly called it a terrorist attack.
Well, we don't know if it's really a terrorist attack, but we just know that if there's a white guy involved, we'll definitely call it a terrorist attack because we know we don't want to offend anybody else other than white people because that's fine. They won't do anything.
Every time.
60% of the time, it works every time.
What do you got coming up?
Well, we got the Send in Art podcast Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to definitely be hitting the finale of Mobland hard since we've been covering and breaking down every episode for the whole season. So this will be our
It gives you 5 days to go see it before the full breakdown because we go into every scene of the show. So
yeah, we do it the fun, like the legit breakdown way, like EFAP style. So I'm just really proud that it's picking up Mobland because I really want a season 2. I think we already confirmed that it was announced.
Yeah, it's confirmed
last week.
No, I'm pretty I'm pretty sure they're definitely getting a season 2. This show is so fucking good.
It's already confirmed. So
and so if any of the people who are enjoying this show want to go over, if they're not already, if you can subscribe, we're at like 322 subs. We'd be really appreciative if we can keep moving that counter up, maybe get to monetization level. That'd be awesome. Subscribing, as Brahma likes to say, doesn't cost you a thing and would really help us out. So please, if you can, it's the Ascendant Art channel here on YouTube, and we do our shows Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We had a really good one last week, and we'll have another good one this week.
We're not asking you to ring the freaking bell.
Yeah.
Just click sub.
I don't need you to ring the bell because we do one show a week, same time, every time.
I just linked his channel in here, Ascendant Art. So click on it. Go give him a sub. They could use it. And like I said, you don't have to ring the bell. Just give him the sub. Costs nothing. I mean, I've got like 700 subs. 700 subscriptions. So it's worthwhile. We do a good show on Fridays. And sometimes we do trivia, music trivia, movie trivia, all kinds of stuff. It's fun.
Yeah.
As for me, I'll be on with comics Monday and Thursday this week. Tuesday, we're on with Mad's new channel, which is called Mad's New Channel, where we talk about some obscure, weird historical reference to somebody and make fun of it. Wednesday, the midweek.
Is it the Ottomans?
It has not been the Ottomans yet, but it has been the Mormons a few times, and sometimes the Fenians from Ireland. So they lost a piece of the U.S. to Canada. So we make
completely
fun of them.
through their own incompetence.
Complete incompetence. All right. Wednesday, the midweek hump. We are done as of the 18th of June because Shags is moving to Hawaii. So there's only a few episodes of that left. Come check it out. I'm sure we'll have some special guests. Friday with Little Chad, Ascend and Art. Saturday, no bourbon and boarding this week because there will only be 2 games in the Stanley Cup Championship. So we're doing that in 2 weeks to wrap up the season, and then we're back here Sunday. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for everybody who gifted some subs tonight. I think we got 20 subs, so we're starting to turn the chat a little bit greener. And thank you to Tox and everybody who gave super chats and rumble rants. Hope you guys have a great week. Glad you started the technical work week with us. Sunday's the first day of the week, right? So
yes, it is.
Yeah, my heart goes out to all of you.
Have
a great night, everybody.
All right.
We'll catch you later.
Thanks, Frank.